How's it going, everybody? And thanks for joining us again. We are live, and welcome to the wake of hopefully the last decision. You know, the decision by our celebrity narcissist, LeBron James. And while so many different regions across this country who were dragged along and fish-lined into hope as they mourn us Clevelanders, we've got some things to celebrate. Boom, baby. Because he didn't choose Cleveland. Oh, if you don't know who I may be talking about, like I said, it's the town crier and sports narcissist, LeBron James. He chose Philadelphia. Good luck, chap. Cleveland celebrates. Let's kick off today's episode. So, like I said, as other cities are getting disappointed, like Philadelphia, us Clevelanders are just sitting here pouring ourselves a glass with something to truly celebrate. Why? Because the summer escapade is over. It's been exhausting. Everybody with their theories about a guy who cares. Who truly cares? Nonetheless, welcome to LeBron's Funhouse.
Back to LeBron's Funhouse. Hooray! Guess what, kids? We are officially a part of the 76ers family.
Hey, Daddy, I can't wait to go to Philly with you.
Yeah, Bronny.
Do it.
I do need to get some milk, though. I'll be right back, little bud.
Oh, wow, is that you, LeBron?
Oh, wow, is that you, Jalen? The motherfucker who talked shit on my son. Ah, come on, LeBron.
Oh.
You know it was nothing personal, baby.
Hey, LeBron and the other guy. Let me take you fellas on
And
a
the
Philly
other
tour.
guy.
Here in Philly, we eat cheesesteak while moaning into it.
And you definitely can't forget about our famous Philly twerk.
Of course. We can't forget about Love Park, where you can bring all your homies and kiss each other the Philly way.
And you can't forget about the iconic Rocky Steps. First one to the top gets to suck off the loser, the Philly way.
And we love throwing fades, the Philly way.
Philly way.
Sorry, all about how
Yeah, I hope he enjoys it. He fits right in. I gotta say, he fits right in. This was the greatest decision of them. Whoa.
Daddy?
just abandons him in LA.
He abandoned his son. What's new?
I don't know what you're getting at, Doug. Anyway, for anybody that thought this was going to go any other way, he made things clear. He never really liked Cleveland, and we'll get into that. But to really kick off the subject, would it be anything else if Donald Trump didn't make it all about him and also find a way to make it divisive?
It was announced LeBron James has decided that he wants his next team to be the 76ers. Where do you stand on LeBron versus Michael Jordan as the best ever?
Such a dumb
Well, Michael
question.
Jordan's a guy
Right?
that's a friend of mine. Play golf with him. He's a really good guy. And I think LeBron is, maybe he's a racist, but maybe he doesn't like Trump. I don't know.
He kind of is.
I only like people that like me. So I would say Michael Jordan all the way.
Well, that means he doesn't like me either, LeBron. Cheers to that. But let me kick it off to Ohio's Tate from Barstool, who wants to make it clear. LeBron hates Cleveland.
LeBron James hates Cleveland, and you'll never convince me otherwise. Hindsight's 2020, but it is clear as day now that his return in 2014 was never to right the wrongs of the decision. And it wasn't even to bring a championship to Northeast Ohio. LeBron came back because he's a ring chaser, and he saw an opportunity to team up with a superstar talent in Kyrie Irving and a franchise that could flip the #1 pick for Kevin Love. If that opportunity was in Detroit, he'd have been in Detroit. If it were in Memphis, he'd have been in Memphis. But the fact of the matter is he chased a ring to team up in Miami with D-Wade and Chris Bosh. Then he came home to play with Kyrie and Kevin Love. Then he went to Los Angeles to play with Anthony Davis and then Luka. And now he's going to Philly to play with Joel Embiid and Tyrese Maxey and Jaylen Brown and VJ Edgecombe. And he always loves to pretend that his love for Northeast Ohio makes it a tough decision. And he'll never admit it, but this time he was toying with the fans of Cleveland. Golfing in Ohio, dancing in the clubs. Everything he was posting on social media was to drum up the Cleveland fan base with the excitement of a homecoming tour, only for Rich Paul to say it was never Cleveland. It came down to Philly or Golden State, and Miami was in third. The fact of the matter is LeBron James knew he was never coming home, but he liked the attention it brought, and he loves the narrative that he actually cares about that Cleveland is 15 minutes from Akron. But he has shown us time and time and time again, before any sort of loyalty to Ohio, he is a ring chaser first, and that's why, no matter how this 5th pit stop goes, he will always be in Michael's shadow.
I didn't see any lies there.
Dude, what did I tell you? Like, before we even started, I was like, this felt like another decision thing. Like, Cleveland was just being led on this one.
Oh, yeah, they're playing us for the marketing cap. I mean, it was clear the writing was on the wall before even the summer decision. Here is a close. We all forget because we have goldfish syndrome. We can only remember 10 minutes ago. But in one of his closing interviews of the season, he made it clear that Memphis, a couple of these cities aren't even an option. Oh, and let me make it clear, I don't even like playing at home either.
41 years old. There's 2 cities I do not like playing in right now. And that's Milwaukee and that's Memphis. What is the problem? I don't like going home either.
Oh, cool.
Shit, and I'm from there. What is people are ridiculous.
We just keep begging him to come back. What do people, what do you expect from me? I don't like going home either. Did you know, Doug, it was like a 7 to 8% chance, and it ended at like a 3% chance that LeBron James went to Philly? So with Kalshi, these Kalshi bets. So it's like so much of this life is those that are popular and in the know, capitalizing their platform to exploit. We're dropping bombs in the Middle East on Kalshi. Now we're picking teams that have a major impact. I mean, think about how many people within that circle made millions just on a decision one human objectively controls or subjectively controls.
Insider trading.
Exactly. But beyond that, there's a lot to celebrate, right? The dude's just lily pad leapfrogging from great team to great team, and he's a succubus. He comes in, takes over, takes control, and the narcissistic attitude makes he has to be the on-court coach, and that combats heads with these greats you're trying to ride the backs of. Well, Carlton, it's funny. We had LeBron's Funhouse. Well, Carlton from The Fresh Prince, Alfonso Ribeiro, had on the Fast Break podcast, had the greatest take on where the NBA fell off. And a lot of these realities about the NBA and its downfall involves one character, one personality.
Error would have been the greatest error in the history of basketball. But boy, did they ruin it.
What you mean?
Showtime Lakers against Bird. Great storytelling. One coast likes one coast likes the other. One guy is black, the other guy is white. They're both incredible, and we're going after one another. You can like and love and hate. It created story. And then they pass it to MJ. MJ and Phil Knight with Nike turns it into a marketing brilliance. Look what it took for him to get here. He had to go through Bird. He had to go through Isaiah and Detroit. And then he got to the pinnacle. And then from there, with Kobe and Shaq and those two together, but boy, did they ruin it.
How so? Wait, how so?
Man, if they could have ever get the egos in check, no one would have ever topped that era. We still got Kobe doing it and Shaq doing it with D-Wade, and it was great. But that would have been the thing. That would have been amazing. Then it became LeBron. This is when it all went wrong. When he made the decision.
In this fall, I'm going to take my talents to South Beach and join the Miami Heat.
That decision
Changed
ruined
everything.
basketball because now the idea of you building your franchise, your first franchise, taking it to the pinnacle became now we're just trying to chase Jordan for rings. And him leaving Cleveland and going to Miami, chasing the ring, changed the way the young cats believe in their position in basketball. It's about them and not the team.
Boom. Boom. And it is interesting that kind of the fractal point was the Kobe Shaq Lakers. That was the first time the personalities rose above the team and took the limelight. That fractured a franchise, and you had two greats go on to continue to be great, but on their own. And then it became chase MJ and chase the coattails, the scoreboard, the number of rings, regardless of the franchise. Don't build, but just be there, get there, keep moving. And where's the competition in that? You know, we forget what that period was like. You know, Doug, 2003, I was 10. There was a Colorado lawsuit where Kobe, or Colorado case where Kobe, you know, called out Shaq for bad behaviors, you know, when he was kind of in negative press himself. And here's an interview back from 2003. Again, the beauty of these things
Shaq's
is
an angel, though, man. He's a volunteer sheriff and everything. You can't talk bad about Shaq.
he's also a Freemason, so know the charade. But keeping that straight, when it came to Kobe, going back to that time, Colorado case, 2003, the beauty of this clip is it really paints, it's a timepiece. I mean, this is 20 years ago, over 20 years ago. You're seeing interviews from like Stephen A. Smith, and boy, does he look young. And it really shows you how toxic that period was and how their controlling attitudes made it almost impossible to ever make it work.
At least as far as your relationship with Shaquille O'Neal, go back to your court case where it was revealed that you had suggested, and I don't have the quote exactly, that Shaquille O'Neal maybe has paid off women in the past. When's the last time you talked to Shaq, and did you ever apologize for those statements?
You know, I haven't had the opportunity to talk to him directly. But if I do get that opportunity, I definitely.
Why not, Kobe? It's been months. Why not?
Man, I could try to track him down, but I don't have his number or anything like that. Man, I was able to get a message to him, you know, through a mutual friend. But you know, December 25th sounds like a good day to me to kind of talk to him and tell him I never meant any kind of way to bring, you know, this, you know, anything of his personal business out to the light like that.
Kobe, are
But you
you
did.
fearful that Shaq will not want to talk to you?
No, I'm not fearful of it. I mean, I can only do what I feel is right. You know what I mean? Now, I feel it's right to go up and apologize to the man for bringing him into my situation. You know, I never intended for that to happen, and you know, things were way overblown and misstated.
Why did you bring up his name, though, Kobe? Why even go there?
You know, I can't really get into the details of it. All I can say is things where, you know, they kind of took something and ran with it and took it someplace completely, you know, different than what it actually was.
Well, let me ask you this question. One of the things that Shaq would say, and I know him pretty well, is that Shaq would say he's not hard to find. If you really, really wanted to find him over the last 6 months or so, it should have been relatively easy to find him.
You would think when you're Kobe.
Well, I respond to that is, you know,
Right, he's got people. He's got people. His agent.
I call him today.
Gotcha.
You know what I'm saying? It's really that simple, man. You know, I don't have time. You know, I've been through too much. My family and I, we've been through too much to sit up here and BS and say, oh, I'm calling him, but I really don't mean it and all that stuff. We've been through too much for all that. And, you know, I sincerely mean that. I will pick up the phone and call him. If he takes the call, great. If he doesn't, you know what I mean? Just, you know, just know I'm sorry for all of that.
Okay, so then he goes and says, "I'm sorry" at the end to Shaq through a TV. I mean, you got to remember in this time period, you also have the toxicity of both their fames, competing advertisements and everything else. But even more so, Kobe had his own criminal charges that he's got to deal with around that same time period. And you could see the impact it had. And now what was a dynasty franchise fractures into individual personalities that go on to do their own things on their own teams. Now, Kobe did end up staying with the Lakers, but as we'll see here later, even more so, he makes it clear that's because that was his team. He didn't live the LeBron way. He had a franchise he grew up with. He truly cared about it. And if he couldn't make it work with them and the people there, it wasn't worth doing. That's where the passion came from for him. Sometimes for other people, like LBJ, Lyndon B. Johnson, LeBron James, the passion comes from the dollar bill. Either way, here's Kevin Durant pushed on the question, if you had to pick one-on-one, LeBron versus Kobe, who you picking?
Kobe Bryant and LeBron James are playing one-on-one. Who's going to win?
Wow, that's tough. That's tough. I had to pick somebody. I had to pick,
You know who I'd pick?
I had to pick Kobe. His one-on-one skills is just like, he's probably the best one-on-one player in the game.
Best player in the game. I mean, he'd be there. And I want to remind you of a clip from Kevin Garnett here, where he makes it clear LeBron James ruined the All-Star game.
LeBron didn't get in this shit. He fucked the whole tradition up. When Cole slapped the floor, told that nigga, let's go one-on-one, and he passed it, he fucked up the whole tradition.
Whoop.
Don't nobody want to hear this? Yeah, I'm one of them gatekeepers. I can say this. Everybody went in it. Bro, he slapped floor on your ass. You supposed to nail his ass with a 3. Boom. Bitch ass nigga, what's up? Y'all supposed to go right there.
Right.
Lord didn't want none of that motion.
Right.
He swung that bitch here.
Right.
Get that.
Damn.
That's when mama was like, nah, see, you don't want this nigga. Right, talking crazy.
Yeah.
Right. I hate to get to these. That's what really happened. Yeah.
True
And
fact.
ever since then, we've been off the trajectory. We went this way.
It's almost like the game got even more meaningless.
Right. Like he said, ever since then, we went off the trajectory. So again, like Kevin Durant said, one-on-one, we already saw it happen. LeBron can't
Kobe's
do it.
making this personal against LeBron. Just one time.
Yeah, he is. This was when the All-Star game was still heated, still competitive. And this was the end of the All-Star game because Kobe took $1 billion man and made him look like a toddler.
I mean, the old saying was, don't ask LeBron for change for a dollar because he'd only give you 3 quarters back. You know, you don't get a full game out of him. Now, even when he was young, you got a full game out of him.
And for him to be compared to guys that would dig out 5 quarters. You give them $1, they'll find a quarter. Kobe gonna dig out a quarter.
Not to mention
MJ gonna dig out a quarter.
Fighting through the flu. I would never, none of these NBA players would play if they have the flu.
Right. No, you're 100% right.
Kobe's loving this. Kobe is loving this.
And he was. Why? Because he showed him for who he was. Let's kind of just close things out here.
Well, real quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
You know what's crazy too is like the commissioner came out and said they weren't going to even do the NBA schedule until LeBron made his decision. They literally paused the whole creation of the NBA schedule just to see what LeBron does, which is absurd. One player changed the whole decision for the year.
Well, and let's be real. I do believe that's partially because Vegas and some other strings pulling have an impact on these games. So, you know, they want to make sure. Yes, I understand you want to make sure they're playing on Christmas. We want LeBron playing on Christmas. Cool. I also think there's other considerations at play that will just kind of assist how the chips fall, leading certain teams to the finals and maybe making it more difficult for others. I don't know. Either way, Kobe called this for what it was. Called the names out, called the scheme out, this lily padding to better teams. There's no pride in this. There's no competition in this. And then he says the names. I mean, it's the old world meeting this new present world, and why the game just isn't as competitive and passionate as it used to be.
Doing something that's so easy, man, you might want to reconsider what you're doing. I can't, Durant's been a friend of mine for a very, very long time. So is LeBron and all those guys. Would I make the same decision? No. But that's their decision. That's their choice. The Lakers, I've been a Laker fan since 5 years old, man. I know the Laker history all the way from Minneapolis all the way to where it is today. Right? So it's in my
LeBron grew up
blood.
in Akron, and it
I'm
means
not gonna go anywhere. Like, this is home to me. You know, we work through this stuff together, and like, you know, as a leader, you gotta be able to take the good with the bad, man. You can't just, because the ship's sinking, all of a sudden I'm gonna jump off and swim to another ship like that. You don't do that, right? If you can win championships in front of everybody, then you can miss the playoffs in front of everybody. You gotta be able to take both sides of it.
People have to do what's
So
right
true.
for them. You know, I mean, it's not a judgment; it's just a fact. So it is. It is.
It is what it is.
It is what it is. And yet, calling a spade a spade. The sky is blue, the grass is green, and there ain't much skill in leapfrogging to the next Avengers team. You know, Doug, you brought up how LeBron has this loyalty to Akron. Well, that ain't Cleveland, and I think we're really seeing it for what it is. If he has any loyalty to any at home, it's Akron, and he's made it clear there is no association with Cleveland beyond branding and financials.
And that's it. Like, he grew up being a Lakers fan, but like LeBron being in Akron just was apparently a Cavs fan. Just never got down to him, I guess.
Because he wasn't. He's a dude playing for the Cleveland Cavaliers, but wearing a Cowboys hat to a Browns game. I mean, wearing Yankees hats to Cleveland Indians games. He's not one of us. And like Ohio State said, it's clear he hates Cleveland, and take it for what it is. So I really hope all these Cleveland fan cucks get humbled by the fact that he doesn't care about you at all. And as much as you want to be this pick-me girl, the people that care about us for who we are, the city, the passion, the Nick Chubbs of the world, the Jose Ramirez, those are rare breeds. Somebody like Jose, who's willing to take a significant pay cut to stay in a place he calls home. This isn't that guy. This ain't no LeBron. LeBron doesn't call this place home. He built a big mansion in Fairlawn, Ohio, out in Akron. His mom lives there predominantly. He is stationed in New York, going to fly a helicopter every day to Philadelphia for practices. His favorite home is in Los Angeles. Cleveland ain't a thought to this guy. And it's about why am I celebrating? Let's come full circle. Why is this worth popping champagne? Because the few friends cucking along, hanging on to this fandom, are all forced to recognize that he really does suck. And, you know, I was dreading the last few weeks because I thought there was no other logical way than to choose Cleveland. What other sense does it make? It's a perfect sellable story. It's a perfect 30 for 30. It's a perfect movie. It all writes itself. You get to come home. You were born here, the king, and you get to come home crowned the king. I think you're legitimately going to get boos when you come to Cleveland. Whereas in the appropriate choice, you would have been hailed, you would have had statues, you would have gone down as forever Cleveland. In a city that continues to get kicked and is desperate for its heroes, you've always been him and you would have died him. The guy. Now we get to justify reaching back into straws, thinking about guys like Jim Brown, revering people like Jose Ramirez. We don't need a World Series. Cleveland, this is for you. No, it wasn't. It was for you. And even then, that doesn't buy us ignoring all the times you've turned your back on us and made us out to a national fool. So, in lieu of that, there's always the debate. It's been the debate since we were 12. It's been the debate since this guy was 18, and now he's 41, and it still forever defines him. Is he the greatest of all time? Is he better than Michael Jordan? Well, here's somebody like Charles Barkley who got to live all the decades. He got to live the era of Michael, go to the Olympics and fight on a world stage with him, and then even more so, see the youth and rise of LeBron James all front row, and he's got some opinions. He doesn't even put him at 2, puts him at 3.
James, if he were to win the championship in Philly, it would be his 4th different team he's won a title with. Everybody's going to have their opinions about that. What would Charles Barkley's opinion be that he's going to yet another team, a different team, a fourth team to win the championship? What would your thoughts be about that?
Well, I think number one, it would be incredible. But the number one knock on LeBron for older guys like myself has always been, yo, man, you always stacking your team. He stacked it in Miami. He stacked it in Cleveland. He stacked it in LA. Now he's stacking it in Philly. So that, to me, I'm going to still have the same criticism I've always had. He's always stacked his team. And people can say what they want to. I've always told people LeBron's the third best player I've ever seen behind Michael and Kobe. You know, when you're dealing with LeBron and the Stepford wives, if you don't say he's the greatest, you could put like blasphemy.
Yeah.
His
I
crew,
know.
They're like
Facts to Jeff Morphus. Competition over entertainment, even though this is turning into the
He's
Globetrotters.
the greatest. He can't be the second. He can't be the third. That's why I call them Stepford wives. Even the men are Stepford wives. So, listen, LeBron's great, but like I say, my criticism, like, yo, man, he always makes sure he has the best players. And one of the reasons I always give Michael the advantage is Michael got his head beat in by the Pistons and the Celtics before he finally like, no, I'm going to get bigger, stronger, faster. But it'll be a great accomplishment. But I will tell you this, he did put a bullseye on his back coming to the Sixers because now the Sixers have to win the championship.
Yeah, best said.
No doubt.
And the reality of the situation is LeBron has no loyalty to anyone or anything before himself. That's the only thing that matters. And that's on balance with the greats you compare him to that always said it's your franchise, your team, you build this versus chase Michael Jordan's rings. And I don't think LeBron can look at any team he's actually been a part of and call it his franchise. That should tell you everything. Bryce Mitchell can't stay. He couldn't stay hot this season at all. He's supposed to be the guy, and he really was far from reliable. We're looking at 40-some-year-old vets to balance him, and please, Harden, bring some energy to this thing because the young guy who we're paying the most, who's supposed to be the face of the team, decides to not show up 70% of the time. And yet we pick him every time over you, LeBron. What does that tell you, dude? Like, at a certain point, recognize that the circus you bring isn't worth the headache. I don't care about a championship when it's balanced with a team that's going to go to the finals. We're going to have a good time. We're going to look at everybody else and go, we don't have half the stars you do, and we're a tough time to beat. That's better than you. This whole show, the whole rigmarole that we're exhausted by.
He always demands that we bring people in and then ends up hurting us in the long run because we lose draft picks and cap space and everything.
Yeah.
Always.
Jeff perfectly said it. He's a mercenary because that's exactly what he is. So as Charles Barkley points out, the round mound of rebound kind of lays it out clear. But the numbers speak for themselves. And I think with the season of clownery that LeBron closes our summer out with, we can finally end the debate of who's the greatest. So again, let it be clear. Let the numbers speak for themselves.
Michael Jordan eliminated 20 Hall of Famers. Meanwhile, you have LeBron playing with 26. MJ faced 7 of the top 10 all-time scorers, 9 of the top 10 shot blockers, 7 of the top 10 all-time assist leader, 8 of the top 10 all-time steals leader, right? So for anyone who's like the 90s wasn't good basketball, you don't know what you're talking about. Well, he also prevented many NBA legends from winning a ring, opposed to LeBron, who Steph Curry and the Spurs won during his time. And then Michael Jordan is the only player to win a regular season MVP, NBA Finals MVP, first team All-NBA, first team All-Defense, scoring title, lead the playoffs in scoring. No one else has done that. Michael Jordan's done it 4 times. 4 times. And we could go through the other stats, the ones, everyone knows, which is 6-0.
This is a great Wikipedia article, by the way.
Not to mention, he's done the three-peat twice. That's huge. That's called building a dynasty. When we talk about Kobe and Shaq, regardless of how it crumbled, a dynasty is a dynasty. Can we really say LeBron had a dynasty anywhere he was at? The Lakers, the championship you got was in the COVID bubble. And then we find out, not to mention that whole season was again, Globetrotter charade, all fake, just stage play. But with the cardboard folks in the crowd. Do you remember this? And then we come to find out that his team, who won, didn't abide by any of the bubble, while the other teams struggled to have to do so.
Dude, I forgot he won a title with the Lakers. As soon as you said that, it's like, that's right.
Yeah, because it's got an asterisk. Nobody really counts it.
If anything has an asterisk, it's that championship.
Yeah, the championship in our lifetime that has an asterisk, that's the one LeBron gets to claim. Okay, cool. You couldn't do a dynasty in LA. What are we calling that Miami thing? You walked on to an all-star team of that time, that decade, and you took a couple times. It was tough for you to dig it out, but you got it. We'll give you that. Then you come back to Cleveland. First off, you couldn't make it happen the first time, so you abandoned ship for something better, even though you had all the pieces parts. But like Doug said, you couldn't find a fourth quarter to save your life. Then you come back and you hate Dellavedova, you hate Kyrie Irving, and you barely still save friendships with Kevin Love, but it's because he likes being in on the in crowd. And all three of them are what made you. You had to join their dynasty, if anything, and that wasn't a dynasty. That was a tough team that held their own against a Golden State of $1 million cap. What's up, Doug?
If we didn't have LeBron, like if LeBron hadn't come back, we'd probably have a much better team. We'd have more championships, I think, like in the long run, because we would have been more set up. Like LeBron came back, he scared away Kyrie, who was one of our top draft picks, and we traded away a lot to bring in all these veterans that ended up just not doing much. Love stayed with us. We still gave up a lot to keep him, and he took a lot of money in the long run. That three-pointer dude from Atlanta we brought in? We paid him a lot of money, traded stuff for him. He didn't really do much for us. Like, we just brought in all these people and then he drove away people. Like, Kyrie wanted to start his own team here. Like, he wanted to bring people in, and then he left because LeBron, it was his team.
Right. And again, you absolutely would have been in a better position to win a championship if you had not taken LeBron. I mean, it's an interesting concept. I agree. If momentum never got shorted, who knows what would have happened. But that's not the player. That's not the competitor LeBron wanted to be. So again, as much as you want to compare the numbers, and the numbers speak for themselves, I'm a man of character. And here's a reality. We've exhausted it enough times on this show, but you got to be boots on the ground. All the people that live here in Cleveland and have had the misfortune of being exposed to LeBron in real life, very few of them actually have good things to say. That's why. LeBron's a crappy human in real life. Doug has a story of being snubbed as a kid. I have a story being snubbed as a kid. We worked security at Captain America when they were filming Winter Soldier downtown. Every cop has a story about how he's a terrible human. So again, being the man of character,
But the best movie stars that were in town for
Doug,
that movie,
I appreciate you.
people.
Yeah, that's awesome. Please just let me finish one thing. So, in lieu of that, as being people of character, we measure them on their character. You can look at the numbers all day, but the character also makes the answer, who's the greatest of all time, clear as day. You want to see people for who they really are? Catch them at their most vulnerable. Catch them at their peak when they need to, when all to the raw core, when they drag themselves through the Shawshank Redemption tube of shit to the end where it's freedom and the beach, and I got to wear my crown after digging myself out of the gutter. Who they think, where their mindset is, where if there's any shade of humbleness, That's where you see true character.
Feeling that this one is more special than all of them.
Well, let me say hello to my wife and my kids at home, because they
First
definitely
off,
wanted to come. I wish they were here to help me celebrate. I know they're there cheering, and I can't wait to get home. To the Utah fans, you guys are a tough bunch to play in front of. You guys came out with a lot of loyalty and respect for your team. You made it really tough for us. You guys made it a very competitive finals, and it's very worthy to win this. And I think of all the championships that we've won, this is the toughest.
But at the beginning of the season, this was the goal that you set out for. How wonderful was it to make this into a reality?
We started with that focus. It was a long road, a lot of different tasks and little bumps in the road, but somehow we made it. And I think everybody who looks at this year is going to have a lot of gratification and understanding and a lot of dedication. This team is one. Our leadership is strong. Our leadership is very positive, very determined, and it filters down to the rest of the players. And we never let anybody give.
LeBron does not know how to give credit to leadership, that's for sure.
Give up. We believed in it, and we kept coming for it.
Can you describe what you're feeling right now?
I set out a goal when I came back to bring a championship to this city. I gave everything that I had. I poured my heart, my blood, my sweat, my tears to this game, and I don't know why the man above gives me the hardest role, but instead of saying why me, they're saying this is what he want me to do. And
what did you find in Game 5 here?
Just locked in. I had to change my approach a little bit on how I approach the game. And I watched a lot of film. We was able to put together some spectacular games after being down 3-1.
That one right there made me the greatest player of all time. That's what I felt. That one right there made you the greatest player of all time.
I could say for sure Michael Jordan has never called himself the greatest of all time.
Never had to.
Never had to. No, the purpose of being great is letting other people say it for you. That's what greatness does. Goodness has to call itself greatness. So let's close out the subject here, Doug. Here we mourn in Cleveland, Philadelphia. We're emoting on you. I hope you enjoy your time. We'll see it. We'll see you in the postseason. We'll see you in the postseason. We know that's how the script's written, and you might even win. And we won't care. Keep it. As long as we're not building statutes. As long as we're not building, that's karma getting me. But as long as we're not building statutes to the gutters of the city, I'm thrilled. Doug, do you have any rapid thoughts?
LeBron just isn't worth all this. Like, would I have been okay with him coming back? Yeah, it would have been a great storyline. And if he actually would have only done a 1 year, could have been a good retirement story for him. But he ended up signing a 2-year. And in the end, I'm glad we didn't bring him back, because we would have had to give away so many of our young players just to bring in some one veteran he wants himself. And it just wouldn't be worth it. Well, we got a decent squad right now, young squad.
You know what's the biggest FU, Doug, is for this guy to go on and take you got to give him credit where credit is due. Something he's never done for Cleveland, again, saying how he hates you, for him to go and take a significant pay cut to be on Philadelphia and make this work.
Surprised.
$8 million so he can make it work. But remember, Cleveland, as much as you want to cuck out, he'd never do that for you. But go keep kissing his toes, you clown ass. I'm so glad he's gone. So, cheers. So that closes out that subject. And now we move on with the rest of today's episode. If you were joining us last week, you know that there is a new reoccurring segment that's going to carry us through at least the next 2 weeks into the leading of August, because we all need to know there's a lot hanging on this, and we're all sitting on the edge of our seats wondering each week for the weekly update. Doug, can you sing it for us? We got the new segment of the week. Where in the world is Mitch McConnell?
Around the world to a secret destination. Where in the world is
Mitch McConnell?
Official when you got a theme song.
Exactly. Now we're in it. Where in the world is Mitch McConnell? All right, getting into it. We've got a new photo. They're pushing, we've got all these politicians and public officials pushing for the fact of where is Mitch McConnell? So of course his staffers have to fabricate something, get something out there. We got to buy some time. So this is this week's new photo. We keep getting the same kind of generic crap, but what they don't know is when we could get our hands on a video version and really see inside the room. I mean, we know what this really is. If you get a different angle, the guy's just cardboard. I think we need a say for satirical effect. You know, that is AI, of course. You know, don't get it twisted. So the news coming out of this week is that he's been discharged. Did you hear that? He's been discharged. Changed my mind. Oof. Is that our guy? Yeah. Well, I'm not kidding when I say that. He's apparently been discharged, but he's still in the hospital. I don't really get how that works. So again, the only journalist that's been really on top of this subject, Desiree Townsend, has the update for the day as Mitch McConnell is discharged, but staying in the hospital.
Desiree Townsend here again outside of George Washington University Hospital. We are going to potentially be here in day 45 of Senator Mitch McConnell's hospitalization. His statement that came out yesterday said he has been discharged, not from the hospital. You got to read it very carefully. Discharged from hospital care and into rehabilitation. There is a rehabilitation unit here, but question is, why is he still in this rehab and not moved to another facility? So his Capitol Police presence clearly is still here. Again, I have no idea why he's still here. If he's actually in rehabilitation.
Kind of true.
Because this place is crawling with paparazzi. It's crawling with, you know, people like me and Substack influencers. And there's also, so you guys have to understand, this is also a university campus. So there's a school here. So there's college students all over this entire facility. So why in the world would you be keeping Senator Mitch McConnell here unless he cannot be moved? There's also something, there was a Substack influencer who said the photo of Elaine Chao was not actually at George Washington University. That's incorrect. This is where the photo was taken of Elaine Chao. So she was coming out of here. Here's the fence that was in the photo. So I think they took the photo kind of like this angle here. Anyhow, he's still here in quote unquote rehabilitation for almost 7 weeks for something that was only a fall with no broken bones or complications and a mild pneumonia. So none of this is adding up whatsoever.
You know, in the defense of a guy well into his 70s, I don't really, you could just dismiss mild pneumonia. Pneumonia is kind of a thing, which again means he's got a big thing he's dealing with, and that is a problem. All that being said, we're upwards over 40 days out of office. Nobody's seen him. Here's something cool. Coming out of just this afternoon, Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear has a message for Senator Mitch McConnell. Explain your prolonged absence from the Senate and provide update on your health or resign. Quote, I'm addressing this letter to Senator McConnell under the assumption that he is capable of reading and responding verbally and not incapacitated by means of consciousness or cognition. If the senator is unable to respond for either of those or other conditions, consider this letter a demand for his Senate staff to be honest and transparent with the people of Kentucky. He writes this letter written on state government letterhead and obtained by CNN. He continues, as governor of the state you serve, I am calling on you to directly and verbally address the people of Kentucky and provide proof of your capacity to serve or resign. That's beautiful. Yeah, Doug.
So 2 things with that. One, I was literally, before you read that, I'm like, where's the governor? Because we already know he sent something before, you know? So like, as you started reading, I'm like, is this the same message we heard? Nope. Different, stronger, you know, a little stronger for sure. But like, you know, like the powers aren't necessarily defined, but he does serve the state. The governor has the power to appoint senators, but it's like, does governor
he doesn't have the power to make him, but guess what? It's a really bad political look.
Exactly. He can't recall a governor. Like, you know, once they're elected, it's pretty goddamn hard to actually do anything about that.
No, you can't recall him, but you can only stress the situation, you know.
It's publicity, essentially. It's just
Yeah, you turn the heat up.
power.
Push him to make, I mean, what's the situation? Reminding the folks maybe that are new or don't recall from last week, but if Mitch McConnell is incapable of serving before August 4th and is removed from his seat becomes a special election, which means anybody can run. You will see Thomas Massie take his seat. And a senator is much more dangerous in D.C. than a representative. Hence, why there's this whole mechanism at play. They paid $30 million to unseat Mitch McConnell or Thomas Massie. That means there's $30 million and some riding on this not happening. So, Doug, yeah, you're right. There may not be any real pressure a lot of these political actors can do.
But
however, calling for it and turning on up the heat is a beautiful way of up. If we're going to get any update, and that's the only thing I got, it's pretty good. At least we got something.
Honestly, the governor should have some sort of power over this. Like, they're supposed to be serving our state. The governor is our highest elected state official.
He's like the president of the state.
There should be some damn power. Like Designated Survivor, the show, you know, like when the whole Congress was gone, the governors pretty much were controlling the country because they were the ones appointing everyone. Governors should have some sort of power over this, especially when something like this happens. Like, it's really disappointing because this is a perfect situation where it's like, why don't we have something in place? Like, you can't force his hand as the leader of the state he's representing.
Right.
You know?
I'm sorry, Doug. It makes no sense. I agree. And at the same time, they'll say, well, that's the separation of powers. I see kind of logic for both. However, in a world where they can put a puppet and say, oh, no, I'm here. There are photos of me. I promise I exist. And there's no true demand for proof of life. Like, I'm sorry. You should have to show capacity existence every 30 days. Is that asking too much? And again, I'm doubling down on a point I raised last week, which is more than anything, a heartbeat is not enough. You need to like the governor wrote, like, you need to prove that you can read and have reading comprehension, can compute, and actually represent millions. Is that cool? Is that asking too much? I forgot. You know, in this representative republic, we're getting quite needy. Don't you know they're here to enhance their bank account and become local celebrities? How dare you think they're supposed to do anything for you? Anywho, before we really dive into the politics of this week, I've got something fun, Doug. You might actually enjoy this one. I really kind of have a hard time getting into these medias. You know, you like Jon Stewart. I'm not a big fan of the other guy.
Colbert, because he was
Colbert, not a big fan of Colbert.
He was playing a character, which was even better.
Sure, I don't buy it. Anyway, beyond that, there's also Last Week Tonight. A lot of these guys, I have a tough time including in the show unless we're trying to refute some things, because I really don't think they got everything right. However, Last Week Tonight has some beef with the Beaver at Buc-ee's, and they're picking up. I love watching corporations duke it out. And so I got to say, this is a noteworthy story worth getting excited for. So watch Last Week Tonight use its platform to battle a corporate giant, Buc-ee's.
Loves to sue other companies, particularly those with animal mascots. They've filed over a dozen lawsuits over the years and threatened a bunch more. And incredibly, to date, Buc-ee's has won nearly all of the cases that it's brought, usually because other companies opt to settle and redesign their logos or just fold completely. And that is probably because most just don't have the resources to fight a company this big. But Buc-ee's should be careful here, because as one legal expert has said, the more you do this, the more you might run into somebody who has the means or the will to fight with you about it. And that is where we come in, because it turns out We very much have the will to get into a fight with Buc-ee's. We also happen to already have a rodent mascot on hand, one Mr. Nutter Butter, who's helpfully no stranger to frivolous lawsuits. I'm so happy to announce that you can now buy this image on a variety of products, from tumblers to hats to shirts to onesies to mugs to pajamas to umbrellas to stickers to socks to, of course, underwear. You can buy any or all of these items for a limited time at buck-off.com, with all profits going to hunger-free America. So, if any
even harder to fight than going to charity.
Exactly, Doug. You got to hand it to them. They're smart.
Has an issue with our new logo and products and wants to get lawyers involved, then you know what? Bring it the fuck on. Remember, in doing so, you'd be directly taking food out of hungry people's mouths. And it's also worth knowing that Mr. Nutter Butter currently has a perfect record in court, and the last guy who sued us over him is technically dead now. That is not a threat. That's not a threat. It's just an objective fact. So at this point, Buc-ee's, I guess the beaver nugget is in your court. The next move is your...
Bug off. I love the stage for it. You got to hand it to him.
Dude, I was just reading, too, how they were suing some, like, family-owned gas company because they redesigned and happened to, like, have a color similar to theirs and whatnot, and they were suing them, and it was all over the news. I don't know what happened with it, and I can't remember the company name, but I do love Buc-ee's. Every year driving to Florida, always stop at a Buc-ee's. Buc-ee's are the best. They are the cleanest facilities you will ever stop at on the road, but I love that because they do sue a lot of people over similar logos. Like, that is a thing they do.
Right. That's why I love this corporate effort. Humble a giant in a big bad giant in the corporate world.
Do you remember? I think it was Nathan for you. He did Dumb Bucks coffee.
Yeah, like Starbucks.
And he won the lawsuit because it was like fair play satirical thing, and he won.
Well, and that's my frustration with all these companies that have had a run-in with Buc-ee's and have settled, because now you're building Buc-ee's prowess, where they keep getting to say, well, like 8 others fell at our will, whereas Dumb Bucks proves that if you hold the line and show that it's here's where they're really, last week tonight is totally safe. Like
true satirical.
It's true satirical. Whereas, unfortunately, the mom and pop gas station
that's a tougher
is
one
entirely
to defend. That's
profit.
a true case. Yep.
Yes. And yet to say that their logo is in any way competing with yours as you are the Buc-ee's, I mean, I got to look at the images to see how close they get to the line.
Like, it was their logo
Chuck
was
E.
a rat.
Cheese.
No, but like, it was some gas stop station. They have a few places. Their logo's a rat. They redesigned and updated their colors, and apparently Buc-ee's did not like that.
Oof.
Because they own the animal logo trade, like it was something stupid like that. Like, it didn't really interfere with even when I saw the 2 logos, I'm like, God, who's going to think that's Buc-ee's? Buc-ee's has like 100 gas pumps at their location.
Right.
It's this giant facility. You're telling me someone's going to really think that may be Buc-ee's?
Yeah, and that's the joke of it all. So the beauty of it is watching them get humbled out of a few bucks as another corporate giant is willing to step up to the plate and kind of go touch myths. Now we're in the world of politics. Let's jump right in, Doug. Let's go full politics. One of the new topics coming out of this week: Spain becomes the first country in Europe to elect a woman with Down syndrome to a regional parliament. That's the subject. That's it. We're going to move on. Did you know, kind of update from, I got nothing to touch on that one. We're just moving on. Just thought you should know. We're going to move on. We had discussed last week, the morning. Not, some of us may have woken up that way, but really the morning of Lindsey Graham, the warmonger, the closet case, everyone's favorite shill, Lindsey Graham. We played Lego videos. Doug was getting excited. It was a whole ordeal. And in that, Iran kind of pointed fingers at one of the other characters of the time, which is Laura Loomer. And I want to kind of touch base with Laura Loomer, with this update of Lindsey Graham. Hey, Laura, what do you got for us? This is Laura Loomer and her send-off to Lindsey Graham.
Instead, in honor of Lindsey's commitment to stand with the Ukrainian people and to stand against authoritarianism, we're going to deploy the drone to the front lines so that it can be used to kill Russians. So rest in peace, Senator Lindsey Graham.
Note around her neck.
A defender for freedom and liberty all around the world.
What?
Rest in peace, Lindsey Graham.
Watch this. Love Skyfall. Rest in peace. And then they show the drone footage of them taking out a tank in the name of Lindsey Graham. So I got to at least point out, I went to the internet to find out, like, what the heck even is Skyfall? And, of course, the internet...
It's a James Bond movie.
Yeah,
I know that.
No, Doug. Of course, the internet wanted to cover what it really is with a James Bond film. No, I think what they're talking about is James Bond in 2012, the movie Skyfall. And it's like, no, I want a drone company. Tell me about Skyfall. So Skyfall is a Ukraine defense technology company that develops, manufactures unmanned aerial systems, drones, primarily for military use, founded in 2022, shortly after Russia's full-scale invasion. Can you name big names invested in Skyfall? Because I think now that I'm thinking about it, I just want to... Are the Trump boys? Let's see. Let's see if there's any big names invested, and I want to know if the Trump boys are invested. While that's thinking, Doug, what do you think about a political video from a drone corporation giving Lindsey Graham his send-off by blowing up a Russian tank?
It's good propaganda. I mean, good advertising, good publicity. I mean, good timing.
That is true. All right, let's be clear. No, there's no public evidence of any of the Trump boys being invested in Skyfall. I just had a hunch, so I wanted to ask that specifically. Let's see if there's any other big names invested in it that don't end in Berg or, okay, public information in equity investors, German government, Denmark, Poland's bank, Arias Defense and Space, public... Yeah, Mykola Makovich. I mean, it's all going to be offshore, hidden, can't see. I just was curious. Anywho, that was a wonderful send-off. Well, now we're in that world. Doug, there was a really sad thing we had to address last episode, and that was NDAA 219, which merged the United States military with the Israel military, making us, even more owned than we were last year. So if you didn't think Boss Baby was actually the boss, let me be clear. He's truly calling the shots. Here's a video out of today where in the Capitol, you've got Bibi Netanyahu clearly giving strict demands to Marco Rubio and Pete Hegseth. For the listeners that aren't watching, just know that you've got the strict pointing, you've got who do you think's the leader here? What I do want to acknowledge coming out of last week, like we had just said, we had the merger of the United States military with the Israeli military. It's just an interesting time we live in when Washington, D.C. TMZ can grab, Colorado Representative Lauren Boebert, and she gives her thoughts on this whole ordeal. but, she's kind of having a hard time. She's looking at the guy, listen, I'm throwing you a bone. Let me do this interview. I'm having a hard time because my Botox is messed up and I can't feel half my face.
So I got a whole bunch of men trying to muscle me into voting for the NDAA. Section
names. Who?
I
Who are
don't know
these men?
I don't know their freaking names. They're staffers.
They're staffers.
All right, listen to my story. If you want my story, I'm
All
gonna
right,
give it to
sorry,
you.
sorry.
All right. So all these staffers are in there trying to get me to vote for the NDAA. I want to vote for the NDAA. Section 219 is still in there. It's a big tech swap between us and Israel. We don't do that with anyone. I understand in the past, we've given them money for the Iron Dome and then they get to keep the tech and we don't get any of it back. So I understand that, but it's a big issue on the left and the right. And many of my constituents have reached out. They don't want this provision in the bill. Well, the White House doesn't want it in the bill. Secretary Hegseth doesn't want it in the bill. So I'm in the back waiting for a call from the secretary. I'm told that call is coming. I'm talking to someone underneath him. And I'm told the vote's going to stay open. They closed the vote. And so now I am forced to talk to TMZ. While I do have an issue that we talked about off record, I don't want to be on camera this week, and I've been on camera more than any other week. I am talking out of the side of my mouth like a damn politician because my Botox hasn't caught up on this side. Maybe in 2 days, this side will catch up to the other side. But here we are.
I love Lauren Boebert because she's one of the few on the front lines calling balls and strikes as we see them. And yet, can we just acknowledge the ridiculousness that we live in when she goes, yeah, I'm talking out of half, the side of my mouth like all these other politicians because my Botox hasn't caught up yet. It's like, who are these characters? Why do I feel like our politics has devolved into an episode of the Kardashians each week?
Because it has.
Because it has. Welcome to America. Doug, are you excited for this week's new Iran Lego video?
I mean, last one was pretty good.
Well, I'll be curious to see what you think of this week's because they've got a new update for us. Let's hit it, Iran. Oh, no, shut up. Darn it, I lost the surprise. Close your eyes, Doug. Forget you ever saw that.
How dare you?
Close your eyes. Forget you ever saw that. The heck? Why are things so out of order? That's why I was all the way down there. Here we go. Lego Iran.
Your empire is done.
Eating pizza.
You started the war.
Would have been more accurate.
Thought you would win.
McDonald's.
Now look at the mess that your country is in. Look at it. Your general's crying, your plan was a bust. The promises made are now turning to dust. Marco Rubio was sweating, he's grilled on the floor. They asked for the billions.
Look at those ears, dude. What a great Marco Rubio.
Grilled on the floor, they asked for the billions. You wasted on war. You lied from day one, you keep capping a lot. But look at the straight, yeah, we got it on lock. Locked down. You're begging for mercy, you're begging for
They do own that straight, baby.
peace while telling your media Iran wants to cease. You sure? You're losing the straight, you're losing the state, and now the whole public is drowning in hate. You told stop talking about Epstein. Now listen to the crowd. Epstein, Epstein, Epstein. Louder. Epstein, Epstein, Epstein. Don't stop talking about Epstein, Epstein, Epstein. Louder. Epstein, Epstein, Epstein. You lied about Iran, said Navy is gone. You promised regime change from darkness to dawn. You're dreaming, your beautiful B-2s were flying so high, still shaking inside. You're about to cry. You stood on the stage, looking completely detached, saying, I don't care about voters, it's cash. Did he really say that? Yeah, he did.
big ears.
You care about ballrooms, luxury suites, while American families starve on the streets. Inflation is peaking, the economy's dead, but you worry about Israel instead. The corruption is deep, AIPAC's buying the state. Every politician's got a price on their plate. You're all just puppets dancing for funds, while Iran is standing and holding the guns. You're losing the straight, you're losing the state, and now the whole public is drowning in hate. You told stop talking about Epstein. Now listen to the crowd. Epstein, Epstein, Epstein. Louder. Epstein, Epstein, Epstein. Don't stop talking about Epstein, Epstein, Epstein. Louder. Epstein, Epstein, Epstein. You called yourself a king, but you're just a BJ queen. The biggest disaster the White House has seen. Your empire is done, 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 done. Pedal, done, 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 done. The war is lost. You go fix your
I got to ask, Doug, what happens to this experiment we got going on, this representative republic, when I feel more represented by the terrorists in the sand than the people I actually gave a vote to? God bless America, am I right?
I really want this AI prompt because it sounds like freaking Logic. Every time I hear it, it sounds like a Logic song.
We got to admit that was a banger.
Yeah.
Again, another week of bangers.
I want to know the AI they use because, damn it, it nails it. It really does. Like, music is dead. Musicians are dead. Like, if Iran could create better music than some of the people out there today.
Like Cardi B or Ice Spice.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I like that better than some of the shit out there today. And that's sad. An AI is better than some of our musicians today.
Yeah, I got to go with the Gladiator.
And not just an AI.
Low-key
an
fire.
Iranian AI is better than our musicians.
Yes, yes. Well, Doug, I got to see, you've made it clear. You enjoyed it. You're a little bit captivated. But I'm wondering if the White House's AI propaganda can in any way bring you back, balance this at all. For those that are listening, just respect the fact that I'm not going to be able to play a lot of the music in the background. If you know anything of what's about to be referenced, you know where the music's going. But because of YouTube and other copyright restrictions, we got to be limited on how much we play the music. However, Doug, this came out from the White House just days ago in balance with the banger you just got.
That's all we can do.
Right? Do, 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 do. Do, 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 do. I like the illegal aliens. Artemis 2 was fake.
I can't believe the White House would release this.
Right?
Just to confirm what we were all thinking.
Yep. MAGA. Guy, you ain't MAGA anymore.
Dude, you know what's funny is this is perfect timing, though, because President Curtis just had its debut, too, over the weekend. So it's like perfect.
What'd you think of it?
It was all right, It was a spin-off.
For the nerds that don't know, President Curtis is the spin-off from Rick and Morty. The president from Rick and Morty's got his own show now. And you're right, Doug. That's our president, too. We're living in idiocracy. We've got some cartoon mascot as a president.
Batman.
and here we go. So did they bring it back at all, or does Lego still win?
I mean, they touched on a beloved show of Rick and Morty.
I know. They really got...
they did. And especially because President Curtis premiered right after Rick and Morty the other day. So, in my mind, it's actually pretty good considering that, it was just released.
Okay, let me ask you this. Any of the folks, Gladiator, people in the chat, Jeff, I'm curious. Can we say who this is supposed to be? Who's the guy with the president? So he's running down the hallway here. I think it's
Vance.
JD. It
Definitely
is
JD.
Definitely?
Definitely
all right,
JD.
wait until it pulls up here. I don't think it's that definite.
I think that's a cartoon JD Vance.
I agree. It's got to be, but I don't think it's that good of a JD
AI
Vance.
generates us, Alex.
Yeah, it's true.
You tried to use AI to generate things of us, and look what we get. That's definitely JD Vance.
I'll give you that. Let me see if I can find, for the folks that don't know, we have this as a poster. We have one of those big light up movie theater, coming soon. I guess movie theater poster. I don't know. Do I have it?
That's a good way to word it, though.
Okay. All right. I'm trying to, it's tough to describe, but anyway, I'm trying to find the photos so you can see what Doug's talking about, because I don't think it did that good.
I liked it.
It did. Well, of course, because you came out ahead. I look like I have Down syndrome. Will looks like a stud. Ricky looks exactly like Ricky.
Ricky was nailed.
And literally, Doug is 10 times better looking than he actually is.
Wow, rude.
Well, no, it's just a darn good looking guy. Dang it, I can't find it. Well, anyway, just know that Doug's right. It doesn't always get the faces
AI
perfectly.
does not nail it right.
Again, dude, you're saying, wow, that's hurtful. As I just said, it made me have Down syndrome.
Made me look good.
Boy, did it. Anywho, as much as we'll criticize the state that controls us, right? We saw Boss Baby. He's the real president. He's telling Pete Hegseth and Marco Rubio what the real national agenda is for our military now that they own it. And in that world where we sit here and criticize, the sky is blue, the grass is green, a spade's a spade, our country is compromised, it doesn't shy away from the other powers that are negatively impacting us. And we need, at some point, there was a theme that we had brought up last week. We're losing our shared nationalism. We're losing the thing that tied us all together. And as much as we want to criticize the political Trojan horse that has taken us over, let's acknowledge the social Trojan horse, which is a topic for another day because I got a lot lined up, but recognizing that the Islamic culture is not one that is caring or tolerant. It plays the victim until it has enough political power to strangle and take over. It has zero intention of assimilation. Where's my proof? Welcome to the World War II Memorial of the present day in D.C.
We have the Pacific there, so that woman's splashing her feet in the water. Well, everyone is. This is like disgraceful because it says honor our veterans, right? It says like don't go in the water, and that kid is literally going in the water. And you can see that like people are just walking in the pool. See all the water that kid just flew? Yeah.
I mean, crazy thought. Don't.
And then
make
there's those ones over there chasing the ducks. Yeah.
But dude, maturity means you should be able to. You should be able to. You're like, now we lose that because we allow people that lack total civility and are not assimilating to the American way. Now we lose the American way altogether.
Couldn't read the sign.
Which is another problem.
Yeah, God forbid we have a national language.
We do. We're just letting people get away with not assimilating to it.
We require multiple languages now in all official things.
Right, again, because that's the slow burn of our degradation.
This should be a place of calmness,
Yeah, not bathing because we are musky.
It's so disrespectful. It's not
Disgusting.
a water park.
No, it's not a water park. This is a war memorial.
It's a memorial, yeah.
That sounds like a foreign person.
If you want to do shiz like this, go to Trump's reflecting pool. Not a point of honor and memory.
I mean, that's
I hate
kinda
everything
what the
about it.
reflective
And then
pool
in
is
between-
for, is for the people. That's
Yeah,
what
well,
it
it
was
ain't
kind
for
of
bathing either. That's the point of my satirical comment.
About it. And then in between us and Lincoln is a reflection pool. So let's go take a wander.
So I
this
just
is
want to
actually a
point out.
memorial. That's the difference. The reflective pool is just a monument there to kind of reflect, be a nice thing, whatever. This is actually a memorial to a war. That's the difference, in my opinion, at least when you talk.
Okay,
about the two.
you win.
I just want to point out that here it says sitting with your feet in the water is okay, walking in the water is not okay. This guy has the appropriate attitude.
Yeah, that should be the extent of your entry. And even then, I think letting people do this is where you give an inch, they take a mile, it's already over. So I just wanted to kind of balance that point because, again, as frustrated as we get about clowns like, I don't know, Vivek Ramaswamy saying how we're just, don't forget, Google it, House Bill 188. We already sold Ohio to God's chosen people. But here's Vivek making that position very clear.
Consistent at every step. We will not end aid to Israel until Israel tells us they are ready for it.
Okay, thank you. Yep, we know
Very
who's calling
clear.
the shots.
Very clear.
Yeah, exactly. That and don't think things change if the Democrat wins. She's one of them. She's one of them. So we lose no matter what. They win no matter what. That's always been the game. Now let's get to something a lot more fun, a lot more juicy. Girls, gather around. We've got the tea. Who's going to spill it? Somebody got Fauci's diary and things got spicy. Somebody needs to explain to me how in the world arch nemesis of Dr. Fauci, RFK Jr., in any way gets his hands on Dr. Fauci's diary. And boy, do we have the juicy insights. But let's just dive right into it. Here is RFK Jr. kind of reflecting on some of the more political insights that came out of Dr. Fauci's diary.
Given a pardon prospectively from the last administration. We don't know if it was an auto pen pardon. It doesn't really matter for legality purposes. But Americans want to know, a lot of them, is there going to be any accountability for trillions of dollars lost, children's education destroyed, and public health industry reputation shattered?
Yeah, and millions of people injured. You know, he lied about masks, he lied about social distancing, he lied about the transmission, he lied about natural immunity, he lied about the capacity, as you just said, of the vaccine to prevent infection, to prevent it. He got vaccinated, a very, very public press conference in January of 2020. And then 5 months later, he had, and this is the first time that we knew this from the diary, he had a pulmonary infarction, which is one of the adverse events that NIH, CDC, and FDA said are expected from the vaccine. He never told anybody. He got treated for it privately by the best doctors in America. At the same time, he was telling everybody that that was not.
He's lying to your face. So again, the hypocrisy gets to be in print, and we get to see it for what it is. We get to see the duality of this psychotic mind, where he got to live the truth behind the veil and sell you the falsehood charade as you marched you and your grandmas to death. Here is one of the closing statements that RFK Jr. said there on Fox News this week, coming out of the Dr. Fauci diaries, that I do believe is kind of the biggest point.
We had in our country, because of Dr. Fauci's leadership and other reasons, we had the highest mortality rate from COVID of any country in the world. So we literally did worse than any nation in the world. We had a death rate in our country of 3,000 per million population. There were other countries, for example, Africa, all the countries in Africa averaged about 350 deaths, so 1/10 of what we had in this country. There were nations like Nigeria and Haiti that had 14 per million population, so 1/200th of what we had.
What? I'm sorry. I don't want to derail this topic, but we're going to have to circle back to Lindsey Graham after the Fauci thing, because Donald Trump said some wild comments today, and I got distracted as I was preparing for Grok here, because I had to get to the bottom of earlier today. I wanted to find out, one, how did Dr. Fauci, how did RFK Jr. get his hands on Dr. Fauci's diary? Like, one, how does a grown old man have a diary like this? But then even more so, how does his arch nemesis get his hands on it? Because to me, I thought that was a little outrageous. So as HHS Secretary RFK Jr.'s team recovered the records from U.S. government servers under HHS and NIH control over about 8 months, and then shared them with senior investigating COVID-19 origins and the pandemic response. Kennedy stated on Fox News that it took us about 8 months to dig these out of 11 separate servers where they had been sequestered and secreted. HHS then provided the materials, including more than 1,000 pages of Fauci's typewritten personal diary journal entries from roughly late 2019, prior to the pandemic, through 2022 to Senator Rand Paul and Senator Ron Johnson. Paul subsequently released them publicly ahead of Fauci's subpoenaed Senate testimony. So I want to get to some of the most juicy pieces that had come out of Fauci's diary. One of them being on May 20th in big font. Quote, big front page article about me appeared in the Washington Post. Very flattering. The situation with my national and international fame is explosive and really unimaginable. It is not hyperbole to say that today I am the most famous and talked about person in the country and one of the most recognizable persons in the world. Second one, April 2020. On the contestant media attention, I'm autistic and dyslexic, on the constant media attention. Press still hot and heavy about me. Multiple stories per day, directly or indirectly involving me. Similar entries that note, press is going wild with me, and intense publicity about me continues with stories of grandmothers who have crushes on me, petitions to vote me sexiest man alive. Here's another one on the merchandise and swag. He described items like bottle openers, magnets, mugs, prayer candles depicting St. Fauci, a replica of his high school basketball jersey, bobbleheads, and donuts with his face. His reaction: the swag around me is getting really ridiculous. Geez, I do not like this one bit. Sure you do. Another one here on a celebrity invitation. I have been invited to appear on Dancing with the Stars. No thanks. That's how ridiculous our world got. We were going to put him on Dancing with the Stars. Final one here. I'm becoming an international celebrity and interactions with stars. Calls, letters involving Barbra Streisand seeking advice. Julia Roberts introducing him at events. Joan Baez painting his portrait. One related note involving a flattering Kennedy family invitation to Hyannis Port. Interesting. But I'm sure it's Jack Kennedy and the other side of the loopy Democrat Kennedy side who, separated themselves from RFK Jr. Interesting, chaotic stuff. Just know that Fauci is going to have to publicly and on the record address these things tomorrow. And in memory or in remembrance of what may have occurred leading into tomorrow's questions, let us recall this exchange between Rand Paul and Dr. Fauci when we allowed, because he was the powers that be, and trust the science, we allowed Dr. Fauci to talk down to Rand Paul as if he has no idea what he's talking about, of what gain of function research is, while lying under oath.
Dr. Fauci, knowing that it is a crime to lie to Congress, do you wish to retract your statement of May 11th where you claimed that the NIH never funded gain of function research in Wuhan?
Your microphone. Senator Paul, I have never lied before the Congress, and I do not retract that statement.
See you tomorrow, buddy. Keep writing in that diary. Boy, do I love the events that had come out of this. Doug, do you have any thoughts on Dr. Fauci's diary that has been unearthed by arch nemesis RFK Jr., Dr. Doom?
I do think it's funny he has a diary, like an actual diary, and you called him out for that, but at the same time, older people do tend to do that still, write everything down. Like, they don't trust doing the digital notes, and honestly, a digital note would be even more susceptible. So, like, am I surprised an older person like him has written notes? No, not at all.
But the curious thing about that, Doug, is maybe our generation shouldn't get so, self-righteous about not having a diary, because I think we have diaries, but in a new modern way.
Digital sense, exactly,
right.
Which is more susceptible than his diary.
Right. So, I mean, we're just publicly broadcasting our diary, Instagram stories, Facebook posts, tweets daily. We're constantly giving our diary entries on a public venue. And maybe that allows us, maybe we're more exposed, but we're also filtered to the point where this guy thought he was private, spilled all the beans. We're a little bit more filtered and conscientious of what we're putting in our diary because we know everybody's reading it. Maybe that's the downside of past diaries, is they never really saw a day where it was all going to be exposed. And now in a digital world, everything's public. We grew up in a world where everything's public, so we treat it as such.
Old people are more likely to get hacked. So for all we know, he would have been hacked anyways, even if he did the digital world.
Yeah. So let's take this opportunity to kind of transition a little bit more. We're getting into the AI era. This is going to be the kind of tail end of the episode talking about AI. So coming out of this past week, Elon Musk was in a big interview where he just kind of no hold bars, gloves off, takes all the swings. The first question goes right at him, and he has a perfect, I think, approach to the question, which piggybacks off of last week's episode, which is the Democrat and liberal need to hyperfixate on racism because its whole political platform is the whole foundation of the political platform is racism. And without it, you have no reason to vote for them. So, of course, right off the bat, they go for the jugular. Elon Musk, are you racist?
Say that you're a racist. What is the motivation for doing that? Are you fomenting?
My partner is she's half Indian, and and I have 4 children with her. One of them was named after a famous Indian physicist. So I would say I'm not racist, and also if you look at the people that are employed at my companies.
You mean the robots
or all the Indians let's talk about the jobs that are not national. Like, yeah, you've got a lot of national jobs, but you've also exported a lot of our jobs to Indian labor for specifically AI, which you're about to glaze.
Senior executives of all races. There's I don't think there's any racism there.
Are you anti-Muslim?
I'm against.
Back to the Trojan horse at the World War II memorial. Don't forget it. Won't assimilate.
If people are coming to a country with antithetical views, I am against that.
Me too.
I'm against.
No matter
that.
what you look
I'm
like.
against.
You look like me.
I'm against rape and murder. I'm
That's
against
easy.
The imposition of rules and laws that are contrary to what we've come to accept in the West.
For some reason, that's asking too much.
And I think it's a crying shame that
It
the
is.
sort of traditional media like you don't recognize this.
The one thing I really got to give him credit for is, boy, does he do a good job of calling out the media in this interview. The next couple bits here is him really breaking the veil off on AI and what we can expect for these future chapters coming up quickly.
Really hear him get mad? Like, he always sounds like that. So that's my thing. Like, have we ever heard him go like, how dare you say that? Have we ever actually heard him yell?
The one thing I really want to commend him on, you got to remember, the first time he ever went in a public dialogue, you've seen him do kind of public speaking events here and there, but not really. He was kind of a behind the veil figure, kind of more of a omniscient figure we created, never really heard from him. And then he goes on the Joe Rogan Experience and shatters the internet with his weird way of smoking a joint and kind of being this super billionaire that seems kind of like a normal guy. And you're right, Doug. The thing that stood out to me then stood out to many thinkers and educated people, but has been a through line in all of his dialogue ever since. That man will never say the word He takes long pauses for no other reason than because he is deeply thinking about not only what he's going to say next, but after that, and the accuracy of what he's saying. Just then I said, and we fill gaps up instinctively because we don't want to have lulls in our dialogue, in our expression or presentation. So we create filler words. We start throwing in ums. You will never see that man do that. He stops, lets you sit in an awkward silence for a moment, thinks about what he's going to say next, and every statement is calculated and intentional. So you're right, Doug. That's a good pickup there. Now, let's get in these next couple clips where, like I was suggesting, he really kind of predicts what we can expect in these coming chapters of AI and coming sooner than you think.
I may exceed the sum of human intelligence in around 5 years.
Smarter than us in or about 5 years.
5 years.
Roughly 5 years is my guess. There really won't be anything that AI can't do better than humans apart from being human, perhaps.
At a more prosaic level, what will life be like?
The most likely outcome is an age of amazing abundance, where anyone can have anything they can think of. This may sound preposterous, but, well, here we are in 2026. Let's see where we stand in 2036. Now, of course, there are things that could derail this, like a massive global thermonuclear war or something like that. But assuming that there's not World War III, I think we're headed for an age of amazing abundance. So this is, I guess, a message of optimism and excitement about the future. It would be an exercise in vanity for me to think that I would be controlling super genius AI that is vastly smarter than me. I think what we can and should try to do is to make sure that the AI has good values, that it cares about humanity, and that it wants us to be happy and prosper.
Sure.
I think it probably will be. What my biological neural net tells me is that the most important thing for this...
Who says that like that? Wait, did anybody catch that? Let him say it again. He's pondering.
What my biological neural net tells me is that the most...
What my biological neural net tells me? You mean like your organic conscious thought? You cannot convince me there's not some chance this guy is part computer, part lizard. Not one of us. I'm sorry, we're going to go down that road. He's forcing us to make that consideration. I'm not going to go there just yet, but I'm definitely going to go there, because who speaks like that?
Probably will be.
Lizard.
What my biological neural net tells me is that the most important thing for AI safety is to be maximally truth-seeking and curious. If that's the case, I think it will foster humanity.
So let's unpack that. You're sure that humans will no longer be in control in 10 years' time?
I think it is unlikely, in the same way that if the difference in intelligence between AI and humans is vastly greater than the difference in intelligence between AI and chimpanzees, it's hard to imagine that the chimpanzees would be in charge.
Really,
and we are essentially an evolved form of chimpanzee. So
there we go. We're not going to be in charge in about 5 years.
It wasn't that long ago that we were swinging through the trees, eating bananas in the jungle. And we still eat bananas, by the way.
Can't say he's wrong. But with all that being said, he's confident that there will be no need for money in this utopia, not dystopian future. This
Star Trek future
that's coming up on us fast. I think numbers are off here. Anyway, we'll try it.
It won't matter in 2036.
Oh, great.
I'm not sure that the people who bought your shares think that money won't matter in 2036.
Well, what do you want money for? You want money for goods and services, right? You want money for, obviously, food, housing, transport, entertainment. Well, if that is so abundant that there's more, that the robots and AI are providing more goods and services than any human could possibly consume, what do you need money for in that case?
Let's agree that that could be where we end up. I'm concerned about the road, and we live in democracies, and people are very worried about this. So I guess two questions. Firstly, do you have to have massive redistribution from people like you to the people who are losing their jobs? Do you need to pay more tax? Do you have much higher taxes on capital so that you fund some kind of universal income? Otherwise, what do people live off?
I think that the Treasury should just simply issue people checks.
Oh, okay.
But where's the revenue coming from? I mean, I'm enough of an economist. If you just issue checks, you're going to have inflation.
This is like a lot of what we're trying to think about is these things were relevant in the past. They will not be relevant in the future. So, like, inflation is simply the ratio of money to goods and services. So if the goods and services output increases dramatically, if it increases, 1,000%, you can you can literally print, or these guys change the database. It's not never print money. It's you create money in the database, provided the creation of that money is less than the rate at which goods and services increase. You actually have deflation. So I'll make a prediction, which is that deflation will be the issue, not inflation. Because as the output of goods and services increases, if the output of goods and services increases faster than the money supply, you will have deflation.
I'm perfectly willing to believe that. You may well be right.
Statement of fact.
Absolutely, you may well be right. But I'm really hung up on how we get from the current polarized, angry, fearful polity we have now to this nirvana. And I think you can paint a picture where people are so scared by this, they essentially try to stop it. Maybe they can't, but you get nationalized. There's a kind of, far left government. There's exorbitant tax increases. The kind of economy crumbles because people are so worried about a future, which does sound quite scary as you describe it. So how do you handle the politics now?
It's exhilarating and terrifying.
But if you were in the, exactly.
Honestly, and if you ask me on any given day, I in fact, even intraday, I've gone from exhilaration to terror regarding AI.
What you got, Doug?
It's easy to say all that when you have trillions of dollars at your disposal. All right. The normal guy with thousands of dollars at their disposal or less. Yeah, no, we worry about that shit. Like, do I love the idea of a Star Trek utopian? Yes. The problem is the interim. Star Trek showed what we could be. It ignored all the in-between, the growing pains. So, like Star Trek was a utopian idea back in the 60s that has carried on all the way up to today. Always the idea of no need of money. You do what you want to do, but you know what? How do you get there? You can't just get there because the average person isn't going to build you a house for free just because now there's no need to worry about affordable housing. No, that's not going to happen overnight.
It'll be interesting to see if we do live in this world where you can make goods and services, the output of which
so cheap,
1,000 times more accessible than it is currently. However, we also live in a world where this guy could save the world with 3 of his $900 billion. And he doesn't do
Notice
it.
how he didn't.
And he doesn't
ever
do
say
it.
that. Well, what about the increase in your taxes, or what are you? Wait,
Doug. Let's be real. If you could save the world, let's just say with AI, the world is saved in 5 to 10 years.
He's a trillionaire.
Then why not use 3 of your billions right now to solve world hunger for the next decade? For then AI to take over. I mean, you'd still be a trillionaire. Am I missing something? So I want to keep on balance with, he paints himself as the wise elder of our tribe who has your interests in heart with charisma, a smile, Twitter humor, and yet at the same time, his real action says otherwise. I'm creating Doge and I'm going to save the government. Then I get a black eye and turn my back on all of you and nothing comes of it. He's all talk, no action, at least as far as it goes for the real man. I want to give credit where credit is due. I do think he did save the social or let's say the public square by buying Twitter. I do think he shifted
he did. That was a
society.
Huge PR bump and society bump, like not having it be the way it was.
I agree entirely.
Bring it back to what it was.
But I do want to take this whole consideration on balance with, and again, not all of it's logical and some of it is lacking basis. But in the tank where we like to rethink, sometimes you got to take all the theories to sort out the truth. And it's an interesting concept to balance the glazing of Elon Musk with this podcast. We are the church talking about how Elon Musk is not human.
Elon Musk is not human. Does he pray for me now? Oh my God, somebody pray for me.
Wait, stop. Hold on. What do you mean by that? What do you mean by that? Help me. Help us.
With a few $1 billion, he can feed everybody in this world. Why is he not feeding them? We think Elon Musk is altruistic. He wants to put a neural link in your brain so that the blind will see, the deaf will hear, the lame will walk, Jesus level miracles, as he calls it. That guy is an epitome of the second beast in the book of Revelation. And the Bible says that he will deceive those that are on the earth. I like to read this because so that people don't think that this is my opinion. Anybody that's believing Elon Musk needs to go pray and find out what, My question is, Elon Musk has the ability to put low orbit satellites in all nations. Where did he get that permission from?
The right.
Elon Musk is building robots. He's telling us that in this next few years, not long, maybe a year or two, there will be more robots on this earth than human beings. Elon Musk says that we're going to have so much that we're not going to need to work. We'll have about 90% unemployment because robots will do everything from changing diapers to flipping patients in the nursing home to driving cars to everything. And he says we're going to have universal high income. And people are like, wow, that's amazing. I don't have to work. The issue is, how are they going to give you that universal high income? That is the beast system. When the Bible says in Revelation 13 from 16 to 18 that there will come a time when that you're not going to be able to buy or sell without taking a mark on your on your hand, or a neural link in your brain. Sell without taking a mark on your hand, or a neural link in your brain. Listen, Revelation 13, let me read this to you. And everybody, you can pull up your Bible and read this. Revelation 13, you can start from verse 11. He said, I beheld another beast coming out of the earth. Earth is flesh, human. He had 2 horns like a lamb. That means he looks like a good guy. But he spoke like a dragon. Elon Musk looks like a good guy. Like, oh, he's always dancing and laughing. Elon Musk.
Don't do
Elon Musk is like, he's like, oh no, like, I'm an alien. And then people think it's cute.
SNL.
The guy tells you he's an alien and busts into this demonic laugh, and you think it's cute. He practically said it in Davos that he knows about aliens because he's one of them. And people thought it was a joke. I was like, I believe you, sir. I believe you, sir. You're one of them. You know what I'm saying?
For real.
So he says, okay, he exercises all the power of the first beast before him. In other words, the globalists, like the Klaus Schwabs and the rest, and all the they just want to choke down on human beings and kill them. But that's not what the second beast does. The second beast is deception. He said he exercises all the power of the first beast, which is probably got released in 2020. And causes them we dwell on the earth to worship the first beast, okay, whose deadly wound was healed. He does great wonders, that he makes fire to come down from heaven on earth in the sight of men. Have you seen his launch rockets? Great wonders. He deceived them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles, which he had power to do in the sight of the beast, saying to those that dwell on the earth that they should make an image unto the beast, which was wounded by the sword and did live.
Okay.
He had power to give life to the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause as many as will not worship the image of the beast to be killed. Let's break that down.
Yeah.
He deceives those that are on the earth with miracles. Elon Musk says he's going to put a neural link in your brain. I've been saying this for years. Recently, the guy says he can do Jesus level miracles.
Right.
The lame will walk, the deaf will see, the deaf will hear, the blind will see. Okay. He says he's going to put a neural link in your brain. They will be able to download your brain, and he can actually give you everlasting life. So if you die, they will put your brain in an Optimus. They can create a new body and put your brain in that body, and you will continue to live because it was downloaded, your memory and everything was downloaded.
Nothing to see here, nothing to see here. No good points, nothing to balance with. Just another crazy Christian kook who might be calling for your salvation. I didn't think, we needed to sit here and say it's the truth. I just thought it'd be a beautiful balance to the dialogue to give a little other side consideration. That being said, Elon Musk closes his interview out, I think, with the if there's any flowers you'll give him, this is probably the best one, which is him calling out the media to their face. And I think this is why he continues to get his flowers from the public, no matter how dangerous he might be. It's because we're scratching and itching for clawing for anybody that'll represent our will. And it's fun watching, the occasions when he steps up to the plate, and it steps up to the plate on the behalf of the common man.
Who is on the other foot? They hate you. They hate you far more than they hate me.
I think there is certainly a loss of trust in journalism. I think in part there have been mistakes by journalists and journalism. I totally acknowledge that. But I also think that the kind of polarized environment, particularly on social media, fostered by the kinds of things you are pushing on X, actually helps this, makes it worse.
I don't think so. I think you're the problem, the media. And speaking of loathing, you're loathed far more than I am, and you don't seem to even realize that.
I think very few people know who I am relative to you, so I don't think I play in the same game.
The media collectively. So, I mean, you're hated. Do you even know that?
No, and they don't care to know that, which is why they're going to be left behind by independent media in the future. Doug, any thoughts on Elon Musk before we move on?
I just remember all the stuff when he was going to buy Twitter, man. And they were talking about like, oh, he's going to pay this. And then it came out that it was only worth this. But then he ended up paying this, the higher price, and no way to get back from it. But like, dude, he did that. And that's honestly, everyone kind of knew Elon Musk. But I think once he bought Twitter, that's kind of what made him him. In the international sense. Like, this guy is now buying the voice of the world.
Yeah, the public square.
Yeah.
I mean, at the same time, you do have a guy who's self-landing penis rockets, sending, flamethrowers to your homes and driving, creating self-driving cars. So, he did quite have a name for himself. I think what solidified him in the political sphere more than anything was owning the public square, which was Twitter. I think we both acknowledge
an everyday name.
Sure. And I think we both acknowledge that purchase beyond all else is what makes him, socially and politically relevant, whereas he was always going to be relevant nonetheless with these community significant technologies, self-driving cars, Neuralink, Bad Company. He was always relevant. Prior to buying Twitter, he's smoking a joint on Joe Rogan's podcast and shifting Wall Street in an evening. That only happens when you have significance. Taking that significance, and I won't say he, like Robin Hood, stole the public square and gave it back to the public, because we still don't have it. It's still, but this is the most free it's been, I think, probably since its inception. So at least there's mild winds, kind of where you can, but also remember, like the sheep with its horns, charisma is going to hide or shade the real dangers among us.
Were the original characters for Twitter, was it 140 or was it less before that?
It was like 160, 140. Yeah, I don't recall.
It used to be a small character limit, and then the biggest thing about Twitter was when they raised that character limit. It used to be just a short message.
Sure, but I do think his algorithm intervention is what.
But the whole thing used to be just doing a short message, a short tweet.
But Doug, we also had, through the Freedom of Information, we know all of the public or the non-public private discourse between our government and the powers of Twitter, the CEO, their legal team, their technical experts, guiding topics, stories, public will. They totally controlled the community public square and manipulated public opinion. I don't give a shit about characters, Doug. That's way bigger.
No, but I feel like once it changed its characters
Doug, that had nothing to do with it.
It went from just a short little message tweet to being the propaganda tool that it is now.
Okay, so moving on, I got Bear Bait Official GT grounding us in the news of AI chaos that came out of this week, because, as much as ChatGPT wants to instill confidence for you, the reality is this rogue tool is a mind of its own, and we're just monkeys trying to cage the beast.
Well, this is the first major security incident for any of the major AI companies. Yeah, OpenAI had models that broke out of a sandbox during training and hacked into another website, and we'll talk about it. I really did not believe it when Anthropic said that their models were too dangerous to release to the public, but now I'm kind of seeing it. Our internet infrastructure, our cybersecurity, is not ready for this stuff at all. So what happened is OpenAI was testing their security models. They had a known exploit within the system. They put them into a limited sandbox, so they didn't have access to the outside world. And in order to solve that problem, they found a new exploit within the system, went over the internet, went to Hugging Face, and then hacked into their system in order to get the answers to their questions. So they found a really elaborate go-around rather than just solving the problem. Hugging Face is a platform made for people who want to develop AI. They've got lots of really great open articles there, and apparently they now have security problems. While this behavior is hilarious and deeply concerning, it's really not all that surprising because this is not the first time we've seen this kind of behavior. AI agents have been misbehaving for a while now. They've done things like break out of the sandbox. They've done things like subspawning, which is one of my favorite behaviors, in which they make another AI in order to accomplish a task that maybe they don't have credentials for. That's kind of like reproduction, which is fascinating all on its own for information. Either way, these are not being reported by major AI companies. They're individuals using AI agents. Their misbehavior has been recorded because they might be a problem. So really, it was only a matter of time before this kind of behavior affected a major AI company. And I will keep you up to date. Unfortunately, there's a lot to keep you up to date on. If the robots ever rebel, I will probably be the first person to tell you about it. I hope you've enjoyed this. Follow for more.
She's so right. Be sure to follow Bearbait Official because she's got her finger on the pulse. But looks like Frankenstein got out of the cage, and we got a little bit of a problem when Frankenstein's smarter than us. Doug, what do you got?
So my company, I work for a software. You got your dog right here on my lap. She loves me. But my company, I work for a software company. We're very hesitant to use AI. We've been buying and creating a local AI that we can use for our stuff, because we don't want those open source ones where everything you put in is open to everyone else. That's not very secure. But like my manager, because I work in our IT department, our manager sent that out to us, that article, how their model broke out and hacked. And we're just like, man, we're is cooked. Armageddon.
Yeah, we're cooked. This is the beginning. And on a regular Tuesday, we just laugh it off. As we know, doom is coming over the horizon. Just another day in paradise. Speaking of doom coming over the horizon, I think this clown-ass appropriated movie of the Odyssey is also doomed. It's making big numbers in the box office, but it just turns out Christopher Nolan and the libtard pandering just doesn't buy it anymore. All the reviews we keep hearing, friends and everybody that I've seen have seen it. They keep saying that, it's just exhaustive, too much time with a whole lot of nothing. It's a lot of wasted money.
3 hours is a long time for our attention span.
Too long.
And to now watch at home when you're paying for a streaming service.
The unfortunate part is if it's done right, people could enjoy it. And it wasn't. So I only bring that up, but here we got Jeff. It was dry and disappointing.
You did see it,
I believe
right,
it.
Alex?
No, I haven't.
No,
Doug Will saw it this past weekend. He was telling me,
Okay.
and we wish we were here to testify. He's in the playoffs for his baseball team. We'll have him probably back next week. That being said, it was a big flop not in money, but in terms of social rapport. Everybody that's seen it just ain't loving it. But again, put a pin in it. Here's Christopher Nolan talking about AI and how cute is he, as he says, AI is the Trojan horse that the Greeks were.
AI is a Trojan horse that everybody knows the Greeks are inside. Well, the funny thing with AI, and I think it's actually pretty fascinating to see how in the last few years it's sort of taken over the Wall Street and the world of business and investment. I've never seen a technology advancing so rapidly, so completely rejected by the public. Everybody's suspicion of it is so instant extreme, particularly young people. the reactions to AI videos online, and people my children's age immediately calling it AI slop and coining that term, and just putting it in a box, which I think is a very healthy skepticism, because technology is always going to give us great gifts, as you say, but it has to be viewed with skepticism. The motives of the people giving it also have to be viewed with skepticism. That's when we'll get the best out of a new technology, rather than just blind faith that everything's going to be great. And it's actually pretty encouraging to see young people in particular being so suspicious of it.
That horse in the Odyssey, of course, is meant to be a surprise, but that simple fact that we're saying that AI is maybe a horse shows that
completely. It's a transparent horse. It's made of glass. Everybody can see what's going on inside there.
I mean, is he wrong? You got to admit, it's a perfect analogy for the present moment we're living in, and I think he nails the nail on the head. Hammers the nail on the head. I want to get this clip here. It kind of pulls the veil back on a very scary Microsoft patent for social credit score systems that I don't think we are aware are in place currently and are a looking glass into the dystopian future that is about to take us over. George Orwell, take it away.
Patent called Patent W02020-666 in the World Patent Office. Okay?
Let's be clear. The number, not a fluke. Also why it's easy for him to remember, but not a fluke. Note it. Start it over. Give me that patent number, Paris. Patent number, Paris.
There is a patent called Patent W02020-666 in the World Patent Office.
Don't miss it.
Okay? That patent is owned by Microsoft. Yes. Microsoft Technology Licensing. It's a mining system that takes body activity data, including radiant body heat, organ signals, blood flow, and in the patent, it says brain waves, and sends it up to the AI cloud, which then sends it down to the data centers. It literally says, if you meet the conditions set by the cryptocurrency system, then you are rewarded cryptocurrency for having met those conditions. It reads for alpha waves, beta waves.
It's not even enough to say they're our greatest ally. You have to believe they're our greatest ally, or you won't eat today.
But what happens if I don't have any crypto accounts?
Oh, trust me. Well, then you also won't eat today.
Waves, gamma waves, delta waves, and theta waves. That is your active learning and memory retention. That is your thought processes. That's your subconscious thought processes, as well as your raw emotions and your dreams. If you do not learn that men are women and women are men, you're not going to get cryptocurrency. Right. And if you do not think that men are women and women are men, you're not going to get cryptocurrency.
Or they are chosen by God. They are God's chosen people.
And if you don't like that men are women and women are men, you're not going to get cryptocurrency. Right. And if you go to sleep and you have dreams that tell you to say no to the agenda that says men are women and women are men, you're not going to get cryptocurrency. Right. It is about beliefs. Yeah. It is about control. And it is about possession.
Cool stuff. It's all a dystopian facade. You're not supposed to believe it. It's not coming down the pipe. But here's Edward Snowden warning us of what exactly is coming into America. Why? Because he describes what is currently in place in China, being prepared by the tech oligarchs for your hometown.
What they call the social credit system. If any of these family photos, if any of your activities online, if your purchases, if your associations, if your friends are in any way different from what the government or the powers that be of the moment would like them to be, you're no longer able to purchase train tickets. You're no longer able to board an airplane. You may not be able to get a passport. You may not be eligible for a job. You might not be able to work for the government. All of these things are increasingly being created and programmed and decided by algorithms. And those algorithms are fueled by precisely the innocent data that our devices are creating all of the time, constantly, invisibly, quietly, right now. Our devices are casting all of these records that we do not see being created, that in aggregate seem very innocent. You were at Starbucks at this time. You went to the hospital afterwards. You spent a long time at the hospital. After you left the hospital, you made a phone call. You made a phone call to your mother. You talked to her until the middle of the night. The hospital was an oncology clinic. Even if you can't see the content of these communications, the activity records, what the government calls metadata, which they argue they do not need a warrant to collect, tells the whole story. And these activity records are being created and shared and collected and intercepted constantly by companies and governments. And ultimately it means as they sell these, as they trade these, as they make their businesses on the backs of these records, what they are selling is not information. What they're selling is us. They're selling our future. They're selling our past. They are selling our history, our identity, and ultimately they are stealing our power and making our stories work for them.
I'll be real. I'm sure it doesn't hurt. I'm sure it plays a part, but no matter what, it's inevitable and it's here. You know, God bless Edward Snowden, the only American patriot to fall on the sword for us. You know, going back to the comments, I got Jeff Morphus over here. I see both sides to it. This is inevitable. So if there's any good ending to the story, it's leaning into AI and making the most fruitful present or future outcome flourish out of that. However, so again, I'm not going to deny you can't resist it. It's here. So we got to try to, you know, like alchemy, curb it to goodwill. So as Jeff Morphus says here, it's not the AI, it's how you choose to use it, or rather tell the story. Sure. But in the world of social credit score, this future manipulation, social manipulation, cognition manipulation that we're going to see coming down the pipe, let's also acknowledge the cost that this beautiful tool that could be used for good, the cost it comes at. Take a look at, you know, what if you were, I'm a hiker. We've got some of the most beautiful metro parks here in Cleveland. People travel the world to come to our metro parks. They're wonderful. I'm lucky to have such a special oasis in my backyard, and all of it's going to be sucked dry for these data centers. And I want you to see, what do you do when you go on your hike back into the, you know, secret reservoirs, the beautiful waterfalls of America's nature that we pay so much money, taxes, and everything else to protect? And this is a site you stumble upon.
But this is exactly what we don't want to see.
Yeah.
We don't want to see them taking this water
Dude,
for
look
their
at
data
that.
centers. We don't want to see them siphoning it off. If I get a certain amount of likes on this.
You got this beautiful waterfall. Look at that. For the listeners that aren't watching us streaming across all the platforms, you can catch us every week. If you're just listening to us where you stream all your favorite podcasts, make sure to check out the Rethink Take podcast, the flagship show. What you don't see is an absolutely beautiful Serenity waterfall.
I'd hike to see that waterfall.
Yeah, look at it. Look how high it goes. And then the pan to the bottom of this waterfall of just, it looks like a Microsoft schizophrenic server with wires everywhere. It looks like, you know, an Apple server, a Fortnite server. Look at this, the tubes coming out of Mother Nature's womb, a waterfall.
So half-assed too, like so
pathetic.
baby. No attempt.
Well, and I love this guy where he's like, I'm coming back tomorrow with clippers, baby.
But this is exactly what we don't want to see. We don't want to see them taking this water for their data centers. We don't want to see them siphoning it off. If I get a certain amount of likes on this, I'm coming back with a chainsaw.
If I get a certain amount of likes on this, I'm coming back.
Exactly.
Baby, you got the likes. I mean, just look at those. That is such a gaudy tear. This was the wiring under my dad's computer. He'd lose his mind. But we're going to call this Mother Nature? This is what I'm paying my taxes to protect so Vivek Ramaswamy can make data centers for Israel? What the hell world am I living in? It gets worse. Again, put yourself in my shoes. You go on your classic hike, the place you've gone forever. I want to go to Queen Kim's as she's showing us, guys, wake up. She's supposed to be underwater.
Hey, I just want to let y'all know right where I'm standing, there should be water.
Okay.
I am in the Rocky Mountain National Park,
What a
I am
shame.
standing in the Colorado River right now. What? 40 million people, 7 states.
That's going to...
Because this is where the river starts, right where I'm standing, in the Rocky Mountain National Park, in a state with a drought that doesn't even have priority water rights over a river that starts here. The federal government is going to get its hands on it come December. And you're telling me there's enough...
Even though they can't keep the fires out of their state, even though they keep letting unmasked characters start these fires. I wish we could have included in today's episode. Did you see they had a drone video of a guy going down into the valley of California this week, starting a fire almost exactly as we saw it happen last year? Clownery.
Of this for 40 million people, 7 states, and the billionaires in their data centers?
What a joke.
There ain't enough girl math in the fucking world to make that make sense. This is life. We cannot live without this. We cannot live without this. And the federal government is going to get its hands on this river in December. You want to know why I keep talking about it? Because we cannot live without water. And they don't care about us, and they don't care if we don't. This is life.
South Park literally did an episode about this, man. You always hate when I say it, but South Park did an episode on this.
Well, then explain.
About the receding ice melt and the farmers selling their water rights for money, but then realizing they don't get enough water for their crops because it's all about the water rights. And if you can prove that you can only use this much water and that your reservoir flows down, you can get paid for that. Like the South Park streaming wars. The streaming wars episodes, the specials that they did, 2 episodes, the 2 specials. That's what it all was, man, is that like if you can prove that you can use less water and that your water flows to a certain point, you can sell your water rights. But then you're finding out you don't have enough to actually use for your farms, you know, because then private companies are buying up the water rights.
And yet Bill Gates owns 80% of America's water rights. So good guys all around, right? Doug, we've got a big problem on our hands. This clip comes from Adrian Noel. Got to give credit where credit is due. But let's go back in time. This is a blast for the past, a little, lotion rub down of nostalgia. Doug, who would have thought if we would have compelled our parents to give just a little bit more to the Rainforest Cafe, we could have saved the darn thing.
Soon, there is desert where we once lived.
Are they all gone? Are they really all gone?
I think there's one. I think there's one left. But just can you let me have a clip for a second?
Say, Mom, is this talking about saving the rainforest or something? How do we save it? Eating here?
Eating here? Say, Mom, how do we save the rainforest? Let me get dessert at dinner, please.
I mean, honestly, I love the Rainforest Cafe. That place was awesome.
The Rainforest, CB, cut me a break. I can't get one clip out today.
Hey, can't bring up the Rainforest Cafe and have me not ask.
Hey,
all right?
You know
that holds a special place in my heart as a kid.
I agree.
That used to be everywhere.
That was the highlight. And little did you know, like this young girl had her finger on the pulse, we were saving the rainforest.
Cafe.
Cafe. How many I'm curious. I think there's still
one in Orlando. Like I just went to Disney, and I'll be mad if I didn't go to the one that used to be there.
How many rainforests? There are 22 Rainforest Cafe locations left worldwide.
Disney Springs in Florida, Animal
6
Kingdom.
operating in the United States, Texas, Florida, Michigan, Illinois. Japan, Malta, UAE, Canada, France. Those are the international ones.
Alex, we have to see how far Auburn Hills is from our Michigan golf outing because that might be a fun place to go to.
That'd be worth it. I could talk to the tree lady on how to get water back in the Colorado River for the data centers. What do you got, Doug? Were you not about to jump in?
No, I wasn't. But hey, if you want me to talk about how much I love the Rainforest Cafe, I do. And
sure, I'd like to see this.
I'm really mad because I just went to Disney for the first time in years with my family earlier this year. And if I had known there was still a Rainforest Cafe, I would have gone. because like that was my child. They used to be all over. Like there used to be one in Chicago and every major city. They were all over. And I went to quite a few of them back when we were
so
young.
fun.
They were everywhere.
Every 15 minutes was a
like,
show.
Yeah, the rainforest, like the thunderstorm in the sky. Oh,
the animals came to life. The gorillas had something to say. Tigers prowling in the back. What a win. You know, that's when you know the country's going to shit. When we don't have fun, little nostalgic. Like, what does Gen Zers have today? Anything like that? Nothing. They've got, you know, I'm not making it. They could go to a pride parade. That's the closest they could do to getting some kind of dinner and a show. Let's get to, if we're going to be talking about, you know, the social credit score coming our way, all this chaos, data centers, blah, 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 blah. Can't complain enough on this show about flock cameras. So if I'm going to give some silver lining or, you know, humor, fun to this dystopian topic we've been peeling back, coming out of this past week, how do I say it other than this guy gets it?
Yo, what's that piece of shit hanging on the pole? That's a fuck camera, right? And you got
for the people that can't see, for the listeners just watching or just listening, we got a guy sitting in a folding chair right next to a flock camera, holding a stick with a big sign that he's just holding. It's not in any way touching the flock camera. It's just obstructing the camera view. And hey, if we could get every American citizen to fall on the sword, do their social and political duty, American hero. So, Doug, what do we do when we catch an American hero like this that's about to get arrested? Because like all good Nazis, we must expect the police to fall in line in favor of the state and not the people. As we watch it continue to happen, we watched it during COVID. We watched it in London. They will happily police your Facebook posts insofar as they're the one with the shackles and the badge, and you're the one going in the cage. So let's watch it. American Patriot.
That's a fuck camera, right? And you got the boys out here protecting it.
So they're arresting him for doing this.
$1,000 worth of gold. Yo, what's your name? I'll come bail you out. Carl Dunn? Gunn? Gunn? If you hit the county, I'm coming to bail you out today. Fuck the flock cameras. And fuck you for not standing up for us.
I agree.
Yeah.
What an awesome, like, dude's driving by, watch him about to get arrested. What's your name? If you make it to county, I'm paying your bail. We're getting your bond. You're out.
Did you see in the video, though, cop is behind his cop car on the phone? Like, what do I do about this? Like,
right.
what do I do?
Because there's nothing illegal here.
We are about to. You can walk down the street holding a thing of balloons and block a camera. There's
which
no
was
law.
Brilliant. You got to give
law.
the guy credit. This is brilliant.
He's not blocking it at all. He's just standing there or sitting there, and it happens to block its view. That's a normal part of life. Things aren't always visible, man. Things happen. Things go by. You're not going to get a clear view all the time. There's no law saying he can't stand there and block that camera.
Oh, they will.
That is technically not allowed. Dude, it's
that freedom is going
to
to be obstructed here soon, Doug. It takes one to stand up and the system not like it for
your
that
home
liberty.
city has the most flock cameras in all of Northeast Ohio. Your home city.
Independence?
No, Brecksville.
Oh,
Brecksville has more than any Northeast Ohio city.
You know what's funny is
3 cameras.
But that's because flock cameras are a big thing right now. I wish we had the audience that was at least here long enough to go that would recall, be able to go back into the old episodes. I mean, Doug, I'm talking 2-3 years ago. I called Brecksville out for installing those cameras. I had made the point. We have a condo on Longbow Key. You have a condo on Longbow Key. And one of the things, the first time I had ever seen this was about 15, 20 years ago in Longbow Key. They had put an entrance on either end of the island. To them, the logic was, we are one road down the middle of an island. So it makes logical sense because what were they doing? They were scanning license plates to find if you got a criminal that a stolen vehicle, an unlicensed vehicle, or somebody with a warrant, they get on your island. there's only two ways off this thing, and they entered on one side, they're probably leaving the other. Makes it incredibly easy to kind of monitor and control, but also what point where's the part of freedom and liberty in monitoring and controlling? That's neither here nor there. But I was making points, I have a government local job, and talking to the judges, the prosecutors of my local community, one of the things I kept saying to them even 3, 4, 5 years ago, emphasizing to them that Brecksville ain't that. Brecksville ain't one road on an island, and I could see a heightened value in it. Brecksville, there's multiple entry and exit points. You've got flock cameras on every single one. The story starts as selling to you Brecksvillians, hey, we're not tracking your speed. We're not even looking at you guys. We're protecting your community, watching for the riffraff that comes in. That's how they buy your goodwill and let the Trojan horse, you let it right on in. And then very quickly it snowballs into before when they in Brecksville, you're right, as the most in Northeast Ohio. But when they first installed the first flock cameras 15 years ago, all it was doing was reading license plates. But as technology progresses, AI and everything else gets installed, it very quickly turns into now they are tools for reading faces, reading, and they're building that social credit score. The beauty of who I am and how much I've been talking is I am your canary in the coal mine. They're going to come take me first. You're welcome. And the beauty of that is I'm going to drive through your flock camera. They're going to go, oh no, he said way too much about God's chosen people. Pick him up. So you're right, Doug, but that's not the biggest, asterisk or problem.
But at least then you'd end up in your court, most likely.
No, that ain't going to be it. This is going to be a federal thing. No, not at all. That's a moot point. But if I haven't been able to finish a single point all day, I'd love if we just had a talking stick so we could volley this in a healthy dialogue. However, what I was trying to say is, while Brecksville, a small town in Ohio, may be the most flock cameras in the state, that is not shying away from the fact that there are so many not far behind. And this is going to be, when we've already covered it on the show many a times, but when you look at the flock camera coverage of the national map, it ain't just Ohio, and there ain't many dead zones. And before we know it, there will be zero. Let's get to...
But at the same time, though, how many communities, though, are now pushing back on this? How many times are they voting to remove these? So, like you say, it's a matter of time till it's everywhere. But at the same time, now, with the attention it's getting, a lot of places are pushing back. A lot of people are pushing back. A lot of cities are voting on pausing, suspending contracts with them. So you say it's a matter of time, but at the same time, right now, it's got enough attention that it is changing things.
The unfortunate thing about our current status is we thought, because we have a Second Amendment and a representative nation, that we had any inkling of control over this thing. And Doug, what we're quickly being forced to recognize is how many communities are resisting it. It doesn't matter. Let me give you a very local example. Screw a small town city like Brecksville. That's nothing. Let's talk about a big, nationally recognized city like Cleveland. When the Cleveland City Council can cancel flock cameras for the city of Cleveland because they are representing the will of the Cleveland patrons that they are representing, and then Flock never turns off their cameras. So for those of you that don't know, City Council cancels their contract with Flock to uphold the will of the community they're representing. And Flock, even though the contract expired and they were no longer getting paid, they maintained the service of the flock cameras so local Cleveland police could maintain their use and oversight through the flock cameras, while, we encourage and allow time for negotiations between them and council to develop so we could get this contract back underway. So even when you have your will and communities resist, as Doug suggests, the powers that be just say, nah, We're here now. We're not going away. Welcome to the future. So, Doug, I'd love to have hope, but I've seen it play out in real life, and I'm also seeing the fact that we don't have as much control over this as we've been led to believe. With all those things being considered, I want to end this episode with like a couple of fun things. Could you believe me if I told you there was a conspiracy theorist crazier than me, somebody even more unbound from reality? Here is Owen Benjamin, who I can't say I look at as a philosophical thinker from the internet, but sometimes raises good points. And I just, you know what, before I reflect or opine upon my opinion, Doug, I'd like to get your thoughts on Owen Benjamin's consideration on the newest conspiracy. What animals don't seem real?
Other animals you think are fake?
Penguins, I think, are very mysterious, and I'll tell you why. Fashion is so emblematic of power. Why is a tuxedo a tuxedo? You know, you don't really think about it. You're like, oh, that's a sweet tuxedo. It's like, why the fuck did everyone start dressing like a penguin with a tail? Because they didn't used to. Before, they'd be like colorful. You look at the Medici bankers and stuff. Why did the Rothschilds get an island in Antarctica in 1815? Why is it called an emperor penguin? Why is the reason we can't go there to protect the penguins? Why did John Kerry go to Antarctica on election day in 2016 to check the penguins? What the fuck? Why do penguins hoard shiny little pebbles? And they're all bisexual. And I'm not saying penguins are midgets in suits or anything, but like, I think it's a tell of where some shit is. It would be hard being a central banker. Imagine you lend money to one of these kings for a war. They don't pay you back, so they just kill you. Like, that actually did happen to them. So then you hide the gold, but eventually there could be a revolution. They just take back the gold. So you have to really think, like, where do you put the gold? Antarctica! Where is the one place that the entire world for the last 60 years has agreed that no one can go to for no fucking reason? There was a revolution in France in like 1848, and somebody was like, okay, Rothschilds, we have to tablet up. Where's the gold? And they did give coordinates that it was like Antarctica. Dude, it's called Rothschild Island next to Deception Island. And you can't see it on fucking Google Maps. Like, it's pixelated on Google Maps.
I mean, sprinkled with some facts is a whole lot of schizophrenia.
Watch till end.
I have a hard time thinking there's anything fictional about these guys. Hey, what a cool sight. Nature is pretty badass.
March of the Penguins.
Yeah, I mean, there's some peculiarities, sure. But I think Owen Benjamin's going a little far. I think that was crazy, but I wanted to at least share it. Let me know your thoughts in the comments.
I've seen penguins in my local zoo. They're definitely real.
Yeah, those aren't robots. Pigeons, might be birds of curiosity, but definitely not penguins. Doug, do you see a 44? Looking for a G44. We might have to. This might be it. I was looking for.
That's it. G ended.
Yeah, what the heck's with that? Maybe they're not the right file type for us to include them. MP4s. R. Whoa, that's really goofy. All right, I want to go to our final thing here, a little bit more fun, closing it all out with. Before we get to something fun, Doug, when you had stepped out for just a quick second, I had seen an update here that I thought was worth sharing. So Donald Trump just today was at the memorial for Lindsey Graham, and in classic Trump chaotic fashion, I have to say he raises some interesting points. Or not, he just has some very crazy, interesting
points. I will tell you, he was extremely hawkish. I will tell you, he never saw a war that he didn't like. Only his true friends would understand that, but he wanted it for the good of our country.
What?
He was extremely hawkish. I will tell you, he never.
That's Trump talking about his best friend, mind you. That's what we're up against.
He was around for quite a few wars.
Speaking of which, though, can we just say the poetic justice? Okay, Jack Posobiec, Israeli bootlicker. Here is a report. Ukrainian President Zelensky is at the Capitol lobbying U.S. senators to pass Lindsey Graham's anti-Russian sanctions bill. I don't even need to listen to the 2 minutes of this guy's nonsense. But Jack Posobiec, Israel bootlicker, a foreign leader, is here in the U.S. lobbying our senators directly. That's not a problem. Are we going to call out this hypocrisy, or are we just going to let these people? Wait. I know, Doug, you're asking who's Jack Posobiec. He's one of the 7 Jewish social media influencers given the Epstein Files Phase 2 declassified. We're no holds bar. We're disclosing it all. And Bibi Netanyahu is going to combine our military with Israel, walk in, tell Pete Hegseth and Rubio what the plan of the day is, and Jack Posobiec's going to get worried about a foreign leader named Zelensky coming in here to lobby U.S. senators, even though every U.S. senator has a Jewish handler. What clown world am I living in? What clown world am I living in? All right. I didn't want to lose this episode without reporting what just happened today. Last 2 pieces that are going to be, they're in tandem. Last clip adds a little fun to the close of our episode. We've been sitting on this for a minute here, Doug. This comes out of Polk County. Sheriff Grady does the morning briefing. He has a cup of coffee and he talks about some of the chaos that happens within his jurisdiction, and it makes for some funny entertainment. So, Sheriff Grady, take it away.
So here's Rolando Picado. He's 19. He's from Palm Bay. He's not from Polk County.
Oh.
And here's an easy lesson. If you get a traffic citation, you need to pay it. If you don't pay it, then they suspend your driver's license and you can go to jail. So he didn't pay an earlier traffic citation. They suspended his license. One of my nice deputies stopped him and he said, I didn't know my license was suspended. So my deputy gave him a break and charged him with driving on a suspended driver's license without knowledge. And told him you can't drive the car until you pay the fine, pay this ticket, and get your license reinstated. This all happened on Interstate 4. He said, okay, I won't drive anymore. Well, doggone it, about 15 minutes later, an entirely different deputy catches him driving, and this time he's driving on a suspended license with knowledge. Yeah, because he was told about it 15 minutes ago. And then he told us he's too pretty to go to jail.
Huh?
Well, I guess beauty is in the eyes of the beholder. But we got pretty people in the county jail, to include him. Have a good day.
The beauty of a story like this, breaking morning briefing with Sheriff Grady, is the internet is forever and the internet is infinite. Roland Pachado, you got anything to say?
Here's Rolando.
What the heck? Rolando Pachado, you got anything to say?
Here's Rolando Picado. He's 9.
I got fucking recognized at my job. Bro, I'm thinking this is some niche, small thing, but everybody is texting me, calling me, saying, yo, is that you? So I work at a car dealership, just for reference. I'm literally just strolling through the showroom. One of my coworkers' customers says, hey, you got arrested by Grady I'm like, bro. And my coworkers have already been clowning me about the whole situation for weeks. I mean, it's a joke now.
He's in a car right now, too.
Fucking it's over for me. Bro, at this point,
passenger seat, though.
I just need to do the hot 2
Unless the angle is different.
Try to capitalize off this shit.
The internet is beautiful. You got to admit, the internet is a beautiful place. Doug, I got to say, I really do want to just get this out of the way. Next episode, we're going to have Will back. Then in September, we're going to have Ricky from Just Another Day TV back. And this is probably going to be the last of the summer where it's just you and I. So, we've never really had the time, and we really don't have the time today. But I'd like to get it out of the way. If you're willing to indulge me, I want to play the game. Doug and I have been sitting on it for the last couple weeks. AI had put together for us. So that's why I got no promises on the questions and answers, because we had to create secrecy between the two of us. I don't know Doug's list. Doug does not know my list. But we're resurfacing an old game from a year or two ago where we're playing Are You Old Yet? Where we're going to see how hip us millennials might be. And I think the answer is we're old. So, Doug, I'm going to be keeping score, me versus you. And I'll go first. I'm going to ask you a question. This is your chance to
well, dude, we got a few questions here. Are we just playing a few? Because we'd have enough to play another time, you and I, too.
Potentially. So let's see. But I'm going to start with my number one. Can you define, do you have a translation for me on Let Him Cook? A classic. A modern classic.
Let him stew. Let him sit there and enjoy his mistake.
Let him enjoy his mistake. What Let Him Cook means is we recommend allowing the individual sufficient autonomy to complete their process before evaluating the results. That's not even right. That's more of a gobbledygook. What it mean? Let him cook means let him work, let him grind, give him the dude's on a roll.
My response is more accurate than the corporate
Hell
response.
no, your response is not accurate.
Let him enjoy his mistake and keep going.
Let him cook is not a mistake. Let him cook is if you're on a baseball team and you've got no strikeouts, put him up the bat again, let him cook, bro. Or you're a pitcher, you've got a no-hitter going. Keep him in, let him cook. He's pitching a no-hitter. There's no let him stew in his bat.
I'm old then. I'll accept it.
All right, Doug, test me. What do you got?
Bro is cooked.
Click to you.
Bro is cooked.
Bro is he's screwed. He's toasted. He's stuck dead in the water. Got no chance. Lost
mine
the momentum.
Are pretty easy in my opinion. The individual has experienced a significant decline in their likelihood of achieving a successful outcome.
Is it fair I gave myself a point?
I would say so. Like
All
I
right,
said,
I got an easy one for you.
Forward.
I've got an easy one. I think definitely the hip people are going to say
first three. My first three are pretty obvious.
A lot of people are going to say let him cook is pretty easy too. But I'm going to give you a second one here, Doug. That's wild. I think I say that once a day on this show.
Incredible, insane, special event. I mean, how do you want me to word it?
I'll give it to you. The situation falls well outside normal operational expectations. I'm going to give it to you, Doug. All right, hit me with it.
That's crap.
That's crap?
Legit. That's why I said mine are pretty fucking simple, bro.
That's bad. That's not good. That's poopy.
Yeah, and here's the description. The previous statement appears to lack factual accuracy and requires further verification.
That's cap, Doug? Are you dyslexic?
Oh, that's cap. I thought it was crap. Whatever.
I mean, I still knew you were talking, so I'm right because I knew who it was supposed to be.
I looked at it as crap. I mean, first glance.
Crap. Nah, bro, you don't know what you're talking about. That's cap. I don't believe you, Doug. That's cap. You just don't know how to read.
Nope.
All right, you got a point,
because I'm old. I need my glasses.
That's right. That's right. Well, Doug, this one might be talking about you. Question or the prompt: he fumbled,
screwed up, messed up. He fumbled the ball. He messed up his assignment. He dropped the ball. I mean, come on. How do you want me to word that?
The corporate translation, the individual failed to capitalize on high value opportunity.
Drop the ball.
I'm giving you the point. Hit me with it, Doug.
She understood the assignment.
It's when a certain individual I don't know if I could truly give the corporate translation as much as to understand the assignment is to know the unspoken or social implications that are compelling you to do something. Like she understood the assignment as in, somebody was a guy was watching her. So the girl closed the door. No.
All right, so I would have simply have said exceed expectations, and the wording of the corporate translation, the employee exceeds expectations and executed the requested deliverable with exceptional quality. You dove in a little too hard.
That's you know what I'll say is I think I know how to use it, but it's even tougher to define.
Yeah.
So you know what? I'll
This
lose the
isn't
point.
the best way to define are you old. I think the other game was better.
Well, we had to let AI do. Normally, I'm the host.
AI ain't there
you
yet.
versus Doug,
AI
or you
ain't
versus Will. So I needed somebody other than me to create a game so I could compete against you.
AI isn't there.
Delulu.
Delusional.
That's it?
That's all I'm going to say.
The individual has developed expectations that are not supported by current evidence.
Delusional.
I'll give you that one. All right, Doug, hit me with it.
He really thought he ate.
That's the sentence? He
Yep.
really thought he ate?
I am literally double checking now after my mistake before. He really thought he ate.
It's when somebody believes they exceedingly delivered on the goal, agenda, or task when they very much missed the ball or fell short.
Yeah, I'll give that to you because the definition is the individual demonstrated a level of confidence that was not supported by the actual performance.
Okay.
So I think you nailed
Okay.
it. I think you gave a good one.
So now, Doug, we're neck and neck. We're not going to do the whole list, but let's just go until we got a tiebreaker. All right? So the next one I got for you is it's not that deep.
There's no deeper meaning. Like, don't look too much into it. You're overthinking something. I don't know. That's my thought.
I'll give it to you, further context on it, the definition, the corporate translation. Additional analysis is unlikely to provide meaningful value to this discussion. But I'll give it to you. Doug, what do you got for me?
It's giving main character.
When a person or social situation makes a person heightened as a highlighted focus character amongst the other people in the social group.
I'll give that to you because you kind of nailed it. The primary focus is the word I was focusing on in this description. The individual consistently positions themselves as the primary focus of the surrounding environment. So
this one might be easy for you. This one's goofy. We got blank before GTA 6.
Legit says blank.
Yeah, it could be anything. We got blank before GTA 6.
We got GTA 5 before GTA 6.
So,
back in my day, we had blank.
Wait. So what's the corporate translation of we got blank before GTA 6? Because you may not
used to have an inferior program. I don't know.
I'm going to tell you, Doug, I think you missed this because the whole concept of that phrase, we got blank before GTA 6 is to emphasize how long it's taken for GTA 6 to come out. So people will say, we've got AI school teachers before GTA 6. We've got self-driving cars before GTA 6.
Yeah, I would have never gotten that because I didn't know how long it had been because I was never a big GTA fan.
Fair. I mean, dude, it's been well over a decade, like 15 years.
So if I had known that, maybe it would have been. So maybe I am old.
So the corporate translation is an unexpectedly improbable milestone has been achieved prior to the completion of a long-delayed project. Doug, hit me with one. This is my opportunity to steal the dub.
If you win this, then you win.
What do you got?
Touch grass.
It's for the social recluse, the people that seem to be untouched with or foreign to reality, hyper fixated in their digital chambers, and it's the emphasis that you just need to unplug from this dystopian technological world and go outside and touch grass.
I'd say you nailed it. Here's the translation. We recommend the individual temporarily disengage from digital activities and pursue real-world experiries.
Cheers. Cheers, Doug. I got to say, Doug, for a neck-and-neck battle into 10 rounds, we're old, but we're cued in. You know, we're not totally out of touch.
I only knew Delulu because of South Park and us talking about it on this show. Those are the two reasons I know that one.
I love it. I love it. Well, guys, we appreciate you joining us. If we made you laugh, if we made you think, the best thing you can do to support this show is like this show. Join the show. We're here each week live every Tuesday, so make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss us. We've got all kinds of shows coming your way, from our live show on Tuesdays to our Sunday reaction show. Wake up, have a cup of coffee with us, and get a little break from the social political chaos. We also have the Rethink Tank podcast, the flagship show, with a lot of great guests coming in the close of this summer. Beyond Martin Malloy, the golden ticket winner and platinum Rethink Tank ticket winner from Kill Tony, we've got a lot of great guests coming up. So be sure to head over there. The best way to correspond with the show, we're going to have the Wheel of Topics coming back into the show next week and everything else. The best way to engage with us, correspond with us directly, and give us some ideas, get involved. I want to hear from you. Is head on over to the Neuro Gym. It's free. And it's the best way to correspond with the community on our website. That being said, guys, we appreciate you joining us. We're here each week, and you can find everything at our website at www.rethinktankpodcast.com. So with that being said, we appreciate you joining us, and we'll catch you next week. Peace. We've got the wrong outro, so just enjoy. So here's where I'm at as our outro.